and say good evening, everybody. Another exciting week of looking at scripts over here at the Pocket Jacks Comics channel of YouTube. We have Irwin and Irwin again. We have two Irwins. I don't know
We
what
take
to do
one
with
out.
Irwin.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, I'm going to
Yep.
remove the other Irwin. There we go.
Okay, great.
All right. Oh, Irwin, we have you have a script tonight. And we also have Danny, who was here last week and this week, and he had a script last week. So in the grand scheme of scripts, tell us about the Lost Callers list, Danny. What's this about?
Okay, so the Lost Callers list is a short film that I am story editing.
Okay.
I've been working with the writer for a couple of weeks now, especially for a lot of detailed stuff. Like, I didn't really know what she was trying to say, so we were making her do a lot of that. And then she was feeling like she really lost the plot with all the edits, which happens all the time. Sure. And I was like, okay, I've got a pretty good idea of what to do. Why don't you give me a go and let me write it? And then I asked permission to share it here and I was excited to, since I basically just rewrote the thing.
All right.
Here it is.
So short, is this like the whole story right here?
It's 13 pages total. That's the whole movie.
Okay. Who wants to narrate?
Obviously, John Lamont does.
John Lamont.
All right.
I read this stuff all the time, and I don't even have any weird foreign languages in this one.
No. John, I really sat down this weekend, and I'm like, I'm going to read this Angel of the Darkness book, which you wrote a very nice dedication for. Every time it comes up on that funky lettering where she's talking to some other language, I like those word bubbles may as well be blank because I just can't read them. I'm like, all right, something.
He insisted.
It was an experiment.
It was.
Interior Fernwood Heights Distress Center Office Day. Deborah Baker, 56, slumps lazily over the shredder, feeding page after page in. I mean, she's not going to feed them out. Her frazzled ponytail and stained hoodie suggest that just like the decrepit office around her, this distress center's owner has owners. Has seen better days.
Now, distress centers. All right, this distress center's possessive owner. I think that's valid. This distress center's owner.
Yeah, no, it just was confusing.
You may want to make the page larger, though, Preston.
Hold on.
Yeah, please, thanks. This look better.
Deborah finishes shredding the file, then grabs a loose sheet of paper from the top of the pile. She stares at it in front of her, sighs as the loss it represents, then sighs and continues shredding. Angle the page in the shredder is the Lost Callers list containing just names and dates. Roll credits over the harsh mechanical gnawing, whirling, and humming of the shredder as it chomps through the paper, swallowing names into oblivion. Interior Distress Center bathroom continuous. Meanwhile, in the bathroom, AJ Sridhar perfects his appearance.
Wait. I hear footsteps approaching. We may have
something wicked this way comes.
You know what? Diane and I watched that movie about a year ago. Well, something wicked this way comes.
Oh, yeah.
1984.
Coming out and read my script.
Yeah. All right. Why don't you sit down? We're going to read the script. All right. Proceed, John.
Meanwhile, in the bathroom, AJ Sridhar, 23, perfects his appearance. Unlike his supervisor, he's well-dressed and immaculately groomed, almost too immaculate, almost obsessive, anxious, perhaps. I feel like you should pick one.
Do you want to be Deborah?
AJ!
Ignoring Deborah, AJ continues to adjust his hair.
You need to actually do some work around here to get your hours right.
Should.
Oh, there we go.
AJ!
He slams his fist against the wall. Then, knowing there's only one way to get Deborah to quiet down, he heads into the office.
Coming.
Furiously pissed. Do it again.
Interior distress.
Coming. How's that? Is
Yeah.
that better?
Interior distress center office. Continuous. Deborah leans back in her chair, cheery.
You getting ready for the big day?
He crosses over to the water cooler, fiddling anxiously with a cup.
Why wouldn't I be ready?
Well, it's not every day we get to have our fill of cupcakes while supporting vulnerable members of the community. Aren't bake sales fun?
AJ stares blankly as if Deborah were talking to somebody else.
Hold on. Let me
Whoa.
put this over.
Whoa,
there.
whoa.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. Oh, you were thinking about your big day, weren't you? Early acceptance to the most prestigious med school in the country, huh? Big dreams will get you out of here before you'll say, I get mail delivered to my workplace so I don't have to tell my parents I'm not with this town. Quote, quote.
Deborah moves behind AJ to organize some papers on another desk, avoiding her as nonchalantly as possible. AJ goes over to the cooler to refill his water.
My resume is killer. My transcript is off the charts. I got nothing to worry about.
As he speaks, Deborah mouths his words exactly. As soon as he finishes, she stands up, slapping her knee with delight.
That's the spirit. Positivity is the name of the game around here.
The doorbell rings. The two look at each other expectantly.
Ding dong. You got this, kid. Can't wait to catch the results after my lunch break.
She slaps him on the back. Sexual harassment.
And hey, if you don't get in, there's always another year here at Fernwood Heights Distress Center. More experience is good experience.
She chuckles gainfully and saunters away. AJ's fake smile drops as he heads to the door.
Let's see. Another year, my ass.
Mm-hmm.
Interior exterior doorway continuous. Still holding his cup of water, AJ opens the door to reveal a 40-something AJ. Mid-40s. 40-something mailman. AJ.
Editing a
mid-40s.
bunch. It's going to happen.
Picking up a pack of fumbled letters from the floor of the vestibule.
Vestibule?
Out of curiosity, how old was AJ before?
23.
Oh, AJ got older. Okay.
No, the
40-something
mailman's
mailman.
name is AJ.
AJ.
Our protagonist's name is AJ.
Never mind. Okay.
AJ and then
Yeah,
A
because that's
and
not
J.
confusing at all.
AJ. Okay.
Meant to be that.
Wait a minute. Okay, so we have AJ and we have AJ is not AJ?
No, they're
Yeah.
different people.
That
They're different.
name
They're
is
different
like
people.
AJ. AJ.
The
yeah.
mailman's a bit character, and we come back to him, and this is part of the point.
Okay, fine.
Is this one of Danny's?
40-something mailman named AJ, but not AJ. All right.
Okay.
Pathetic.
AJ crouches down, places the cup on the threshold of the door, grabs a handful of letters, and rifles through them until he reaches what he's obviously been looking for, then tosses the remaining letters back on the ground for AJ to pick up on his own. AJ steps back inside, and as the delivery man starts organizing the mail again, he slams the door with methodical coldness, throwing the cup and its water in his face. Interior Distress Center office continuous. Back inside, AJ greedily rips the letter open as he returns to his desk, scanning it in disbelief. Finally, he tosses it into his desk, and it becomes clear what the outcome was: rejected. Well, he's an asshole, so now we don't want him to be accepted. AJ plops himself down at the desk. He pulls out his phone, and just as he's about to start skimming his social media, the phone rings. AJ hesitates, letting it ring several times. He finally picks it up.
Fernwood Heights Distress Center. We're here to help.
Hi. This is the number for mental health help, right?
Bingo.
Okay. Thanks. I'm Clive. This is my first time calling, so I wasn't quite sure.
The voice on the line seems to trail off as AJ grabs the rejection letter again. He squints and flips the page over, looking for a different outcome. Eventually, AJ returns his focus to the call.
It's been tough recently. I finally worked up the courage to ask my girlfriend to marry me, and
let me guess, she rejected you. Clint, buddy, if you want to hear about rejection, let me tell you.
Okay.
3 years of pre-med and not a grade under 90, plus nearly 3 years of volunteer work here at the community. What more do they expect?
Are you all right?
It's just ridiculous. Totally insane. Not everyone can be rich like Sarah Fraser and start the university's first emerging cardiologist society. All right, now should that be possessive? I don't know. But anyway, what a joke.
Dial tone. The caller has hung up. AJ shrugs and goes back to reviewing his decision letter. The line rings again. AJ picks up angrily.
Fernwood Heights Distress Center.
Not even offering to help.
Oh, yeah, Erwin's got this. Erwin's totally got this. All right. Thank you, Erwin.
Not even offering to help. I'd call it a joke, but it isn't funny, is it, AJ?
AJ jumps back guarded.
Who is this?
That's the first time you've asked a caller that all week, isn't it? Ding, ding, ding. Give the man a prize.
AJ inches closer to the table again, fidgeting nervously with a pen. Okay, so this is phone booth.
Kinda.
Deborah, is that you? This isn't funny. Jesus!
Until you
What he
got
wrote.
that letter, you thought you'd be done with rejection when your dad left, didn't you, AJ? That's why you studied so hard. That's why you never dated. And how far did you get? Look at that letter. Nowhere.
AJ looks down, aghast. The sheet he's been doodling on is a sketch of himself on a wanted poster, but instead of said wanted, it says rejected. He slams the phone down, spooked, then turns around, hoping this was just one of Deborah's jokes. Deborah enters the room, whistling happily. She comes over to AJ with a dingy party hat, bringing him a cupcake with a lit candle on it.
All right, Deborah.
Congratulations, future Dr. AJ.
MD.
Let's see that letter of yours. I bet there's a ton of scholarship money waiting for you.
She reaches over AJ's shoulder, grabbing at his letter before he has a chance to retrieve it. The page has been snatched.
Hey, give it.
She squints, clearly trying to decipher what the letter says and means. Her face goes from peppy joy to kicked puppy.
Rejected? Oh, that's no fun.
She squints.
Point there.
Oh, that's no fun.
I love the incessantly cheerful vibe.
Rejected? That's no fun. There you go. There's
She
distress.
squints at the letter again, then smiles as if a brilliant idea has come to mind. She pulls the candle from the cupcake and blows it out.
At least there's a cupcake, and while you enjoy it,
I feel like Deborah's a sadist.
a little bit.
A little bit. Yeah, Deborah's a sadist.
She's kind of a bitch, actually.
It's a movie involving two people in a room who kind of hate each other.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, she's just kind of like she's actually taking joy in his misery.
Yeah, she's Schadenfreude.
very Schadenfreude. Yeah.
She whisks out a stapler and attaches the letter to the corkboard across the room, visible above AJ's desk. Deborah stands back to admire her work.
Perfect. A constant reminder that life isn't about never falling down. It's about how you pick up yourself up. How you pick yourself up again.
The phone rings again.
That's what we're all about here. So I'll leave you to it.
AJ picks up the phone, but his attention fixates on the rejection letter above him.
Fernwood Heights Distress Center.
Where a self-involved wannabe med student doesn't care
Car.
about your distress.
No, that's car.
Well, that totally. I totally wrote car. Yep.
That's car. A you distress.
Listen, I was banging this thing out before stream last week.
That's
What
car.
page
Your
number is
distress.
that?
And you
Doesn't
didn't look
car
at it
your
before
distress.
you decided
Yeah.
to bring it in all of last week.
Nope. Actually, I was told to specifically leave this version out.
Okay.
The voice speak laughs, taunting AJ.
Who are you? What do you want?
Did you ever stop and think about what would happen if you were wanted for being a killer?
Fuck you.
Something makes AJ look up where he sees a more sophisticated wanter poster tacked to the corkboard on the wall above the room.
A killer? What are you talking about?
That caller you just use as a sounding board for your own frustration? You could have made him feel accepted,
Feed.
valuable.
Could have made him feed. Accepted.
Oh yeah.
But what did you do instead?
The caller's name, Clint, appears on the lost callers list.
Too bad you fumbled your one opportunity to intervene. Now he'll be on the lost callers list before you finish this semester.
The voice gives AJ a moment to let it sink in.
And here's the best part, AJ. You didn't even get his name right.
AJ looks again to the lost callers list where the name Clint sits scratched out, replaced with the caller's name, Clive.
Heck, if you aren't careful, you might just find yourself on the lost callers list yourself. But you're an important guy, aren't you? I'm sure they'll spell your name correctly.
The phone sits by itself on AJ's desk as the voice laughs at its own joke. AJ now stands by the corkboard, staring at the lost callers list. He rips it off the wall, crumbles it up, and throws it to the ground. AJ returns to his desk.
I don't know what kind of funky witchcraft you're working here, but my name sure isn't going on a lost callers list.
Don't speak too soon.
AJ looks at the wall. The lost callers list has appeared again. He tears it down, but another is behind it, and another, and duck season. And finally, he gives up. AJ slams the phone down. He covers his ears, increasingly agitated. He looks from the rejection letter to the lost callers list, which both gloat at him uncomfortably.
Man, AJ's having a bad day.
Interior Distress Center office. Days later. Montage. The deterioration of AJ. AJ's condition crumbles in the weeks to come. His desk grows increasingly cluttered, and his appearance grows increasingly disheveled. But here's still there on the phones, using callers as his personal therapy partners. From the wall, the rejection letter taunts him. The theme of rejection surrounds AJ from a motivational poster that cheerfully reminds him, don't hang in there. Rejected once means rejected forever, to a self-help book entitled How to Abuse the Powerless to Make Yourself Feel Better, to a computer screensaver reading Fernwood Heights Distress Center, where your problems don't matter as much as ours do. He still answers phones, the rejection letter still taunts him, and that damned lost callers list seems to have gotten longer. Deborah comes in joyfully with several empty confection trays celebrating a successful bake sale, cheerfully offering AJ his own Fernwood Heights t-shirt. The front has a print of a stethoscope and reads, "Don't worry, I'm going to be a doctor." When she returns to her table to eat some fast food, AJ notices the back of her shirt features an image of his face with a big red X on it and reads, "Better luck next time." Nevertheless,
harsh.
Nevertheless, AJ talks to callers. The voices blend together, a cacophony of chattering voices asking for help, soon to be taken over by AJ's unhealthy fixation on rejection. The voice crackles. AJ's work life is a hell of his own making. End montage. Whew. Interior Distress Center office. Months later, AJ slumps over his desk, holding the phone to his ear, a shell of his former arrogant self.
All I ever wanted to be was remembered. You know?
How are you still here?
I'll be caller 2.
Sure.
Sure, but if you let me finish, I really think he's cheating on me, and I don't
understand why I wasn't enough.
The line crackles. The voice returns.
Maybe you're looking for acceptance in the wrong place.
AJ flinches and lays his head on the desk, energy
Right.
spent.
Not you again.
Why wouldn't it be me? Have you done any good in this world here, AJ? How's that list coming? It keeps getting longer, doesn't it?
And why don't you just stop? Can't you leave me alone?
Me. You've been here for half a year, AJ, being little more than a self-absorbed brat. I wonder, are you here because you want to help people or because you want them to help you?
No!
Did you spell those names right when you wrote them on the list?
A knock is heard at the door. The phone beeps the sound of a dead line. The voice has gone.
We're open. Can you come in?
I've got a delivery here, but it needs a signature.
Interior, exterior, doorway continuous. AJ goes to the entrance and cautiously opens the door. The delivery man from months ago, the very one who delivered AJ his rejection letter, stands, sopping wet as if he never left position from the previous encounter. His face is plastered with a wide, utterly creepy smile. Think evil clown. The badge on his chest reads AJ. AJ steps back, a gasp. The man opens his mouth only to have the same distorted voice emerge, this time intensified.
That was 10 pages. I'm happy to stop if.
Okay, fine.
I mean, like, it's only fair, right?
Yeah.
How
Well,
many more pages is it?
3.
well, I closed.
Well, I'm glad Erwin wants to know what happens next. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah.
All right, Erwin, what did you think?
Oh, no, I thought we were going to do 3 more pages.
Well, no, we're not. You thought
I'm
we're
happy to, but it's not fair to everyone else. So,
Yeah.
you know, we've got our format. Let's stick to the format. We've done this with other people before, so it is only fair. I'm also disappointed. I was really getting into it. Your delivery was so good, Erwin. You have no idea.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm into it. I'm wondering. Yeah, I'm. You know, there's definitely a tension there, like between AJ and his own, you know, his own hatred and anxiety, and this voice. Yeah, I'm curious what's going to happen between those two people. Yeah, so I'm in a bit of suspense here, so I think that's good. Yeah.
Well, I thought it was pretty good too, since Preston went MIA on us. Yeah, no, I thought it was pretty good. For a movie about two people in a room talking, it flowed nicely. It had good pacing. Yeah, I mean, it definitely works in that way. So
amazing. So now we just need Preston and Diane to say things when they finally return. If they finally return.
There it is. You forgot to.
I forgot to unmute. All right, fine. All right. It's pretty creepy. I mean, I'm gonna be disappointed if the crazy caller and the in-person sadist, who I believe is named Deborah, or what's her name?
Deborah. Who?
Deborah. I was right. It was Deborah.
Yeah.
See, I know my Deborahs. I was in love with Deborah. Anyway, what?
Nothing. I didn't say anything.
Okay, fine. Anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna be disappointed if like Deborah and not the like phone people are the same person. But look, AJ's a good man. He's trying to be a doctor, and that's a very competitive field, and quite frankly, not a particularly rewarding one, particularly with like bureaucracies coming in, and it's attorneys and all that. It's a difficult deal. And AJ got rejected. He sucks. And Deborah, for some reason, is reveling in his misery, as well as like he can't even catch a break when he's trying to help people not kill themselves. Like AJ is beset on all sides, and I feel bad for the dude. I hope he triumphs in the end. What did you think, Diane?
I can't say that. Yes, it's sad that all of your work is for naught, but he's kind of a terrible distress caller.
I mean,
he's not a very good volunteer.
Look, they say people that at the end of their rope just want a connection, and AJ is providing a connection. He's a real guy.
Yeah, but I'll have to say this: it is a very human reaction.
Yeah,
being that he's over here trying to help and everything. Now, I don't know. I am very curious of what he was like before the rejection, if he was actually a good volunteer, because so far I'm seeing the aftermath of it, and he kind of sucks.
He was a dick to the delivery guy.
Yeah, he was. So I'm thinking that he wasn't terribly good, but they'll take volunteers wherever they can. So to get someone on the phones, but I have a feeling that he's just not very good at it. So I'm assuming that the reason why they rejected him is because his people skills suck.
But he's a doctor.
He's not a doctor. He was rejected.
Oh, that's right.
He wasn't a doctor.
He should have used more AI.
Oh man.
And this is not that story about AI. I promise you that.
Okay, fine.
Well, it does certainly come through that he's selfish. Like he's
very selfish. He's very here for.
Do you have any constructive notes?
No. Actually, here's the thing. I actually like this personality because it is not it's not the typical thing for the protagonist. Usually you want to sympathize with him. It's actually you kind of hate this guy. Honestly, I kind of hate him, but I kind of am interested to know what he does. So
well, he was a student. He was rejected from med school.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, well,
that should pain you as an agent.
I know,
okay.
it does.
Okay.
But the thing is that I understand what the stress he's going through, but I can also understand his arrogance, and how he is being torn apart and kind of wallowing in his own misery and taking everyone down with him. So I find that interesting.
Okay.
As a character,
you don't have any constructive notes.
That was a
that was a constructive note. Okay,
no, that wasn't constructive. That was a positive.
That was positive.
That was positive.
So give me all the constructives. Let's go.
Your constructives are positives.
Are kind of positive.
They're very good.
I like it.
It's a pretty solid thing.
It's a pretty solid thing. I think it's a little wordier than it should be.
Okay.
I think that it can be a little more crisp.
I definitely noticed that with the reading.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, I think it can be script, and then you can like hit it. It can be punchier, and I think it just needs to be trimmed more than anything. Because I think you hit all the emotional points. However.
Yeah, I feel like it. Look, I watched a movie when I was growing up called Talk Radio that I haven't really.
Wow,
watched
before.
Yeah.
But when I was watching Interview with the Vampire, the series, it's got that same guy in it.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just. I mean, I looked at him. I guess the guy from Talk Radio. But
we need to finish that, by the way.
I mean, you already finished it.
I did, but you haven't.
Well, I don't know that I need to catch up on all the vampire hijinks. But anyway,
so good.
In regards to this one, I mean, look, it's pretty solid. I don't know that I would really change a lot. Except again, Deborah needs to be. I think
she needs to be a little more sinister.
Really?
I kind of do.
Okay. She's already pretty sinister.
Well, the thing is that she's very. Yes, there's a Schadenfreudeness of that. I think she could be meaner.
Okay.
I think she could be a little
more
sinister, like really much like the person who smiles while stabbing you in the back.
There you go.
Kind of thing. I think there's something a little more than that. The shirt was like brutal, man.
Yeah, I know.
That was brutal.
She invested art assets.
Man, like some money in that thing.
Some money in that.
How about this shit?
That's how much she hates you. Like, fuck you, dude.
As she smiles, as she's like basically.
I know.
puts her
Like,
with heel in you.
Deborah's Deborah's not a good person, and you should not really want to like
Be around her.
be around her.
Of course,
yeah.
you shouldn't be around him either.
Well, sure. But I'm just saying, like, the kind of person that would do that. I don't know.
I think that the way that he is, I kind of understand how these two ended up being
Okay.
kind of like colleagues or
You'll have
they're
to.
not friends.
They're
but
not. They're clearly not.
They're like frenemies.
They are definitely stuck with each other.
Yeah.
But they're stuck with each other, and
Yeah.
they seem to get their giggles from like just tearing each other apart.
Erwin, what you got?
Yeah, I think following the story, you kind of get a sense of where it's very likely going to go, right? And right, like generally with a story like this, it's either going to be like he redeems himself, which I don't think is going to happen because it's not in the tone of the story, or he gets his comeuppance, which is kind of what where the story is headed right now, right? Because his voice is kind of has some sort of retributionary type of tone to it, and so I'm wondering if in because in the short there's usually some sort of twist in the end, right? So I'm wondering what kind of twist that's going to be. As a viewer, I'm already expecting something, right? The conflict between him and the voice seems to be center. The voice, I'm guessing, has something that is some part of him, some aspect of him, his conscience is, whatever it is. I think that somewhere along the way the tension needs to be jacked up a little bit further, because I think we hit the same note a little bit too often. I think there needs to be a discrete uptick in the tension, from whatever 5 to 8 or something like that. So that, because it's 13 pages, I think it should have happened at this point already. So that's just my feeling about it.
I mean, I promise you, it literally happens on the next page.
Okay.
Heard that one before. No, just kidding.
I mean, you have heard that one before, but I'm still saying it.
John Lamont.
Yeah, so to kind of go off of Erwin's point, he actually brought up something that I hadn't thought of, which I guess would have been the next logical thing. So yeah, I mean, it reminds me a lot of Phone Booth, but Phone Booth had 90 minutes, I believe. That's not a very long movie, but it was still feature length. And here, like, I kind of feel like you're kind of trying to do the same thing, but I don't see how you can accomplish, assuming that you want a redemption arc, which that movie had. I just don't see how you're going to get there in the next 3 pages. On to the other part, which Erwin brought up, or indicated, where the voice might actually be his own brain, like if he's actually talking to himself, like, Fight Club style, then there really isn't anybody on the voice, it's just himself. That seems like another logical way to go about this, and then but then that would just mean that he's downright crazy, and I don't know if that's going to be I just don't know if it's going to quite nail the landing in the short amount of time that you have left. That's one of the problems with shorts in general. They're really, really hard to do. That's why I don't typically write shorts, because they're very hard.
They're tough to monetize as well.
Yeah, they are hard to monetize, but they are just really, really hard to get something short and punchy that sticks with people. And I don't that's where for me, I'm just like, for me, this short is reminding me of other media that I've seen that were not shorts, and it feels like that you're trying. I'm saying you, meaning the writing group.
Yeah, you is technically a
Um,
plural. I'm yeah.
So I feel like you are trying to capture something that was done better because they had bigger budgets and more time, and I just don't see how it's gonna come together. I think, my concern would be is that people will end up walking away thinking of other media and being like, oh, you know what, that was a really good movie, and then forgetting all about this because they're so busy thinking of other media that did it better because they had the budget and they had the time. So now, if you do something completely different, which of course we didn't read the last few pages, but assuming that it ends completely differently and you do something that just really is so strong and unique that it stands out and makes you remember this, then I think you can overcome that. But right now, where it's going, I don't see that happening at this current time.
Robert, I don't suppose you heard much of the script.
I heard nothing of the script. I was just reading it right now.
Okay.
And I will read it. Danny, I apologize for being late.
Oh, it's fine. Luckily, it's a 13-page script, so we're back next week with the climax and denouement.
I want to add something.
Go ahead.
Bit. I know that you guys keep talking about a redemption arc. I kind of don't want one.
Oh, you want AJ to suffer?
No,
you're Deborah. I knew you would be Deborah.
No, I actually want him to have some type of comeuppance. Like the voice is like
you want Deborah to win.
Well, no, I actually want.
If he has comeuppance, Deborah wins. Yes.
Well, I suppose.
So you want Deborah to win?
No, I don't. Like it's not about Deborah. It's
you
about
want
AJ.
him to suffer, but you want them both to suffer.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
sure.
they both need to suffer.
This is the joy of two people who hate each other. It's okay to hate both of them.
Yeah, I hate both of them.
Watch them hate each other.
I like the fact that these are people you like to hate.
Yeah.
So, but I feel like the voice is. It might be his consciousness. It could be someone he failed.
Could be Deborah.
Well, I mean, like someone he failed, like on the phone.
Okay.
Like doing his like.
Someone who died, or someone who's so pissed off they found a reason to live, which is fuck with AJ.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Because that would be awesome.
That
would also be a message.
Those are great.
Then not to volunteer at like counseling centers because crazy people might stalk you.
Yeah, it's kind of true.
All right, Erwin, what do we got today? We got Entangled, pages 1 to 10. So you rewrote the start? Erwin?
BRB.
All right. Sorry about that. I was muted. I think I posted pages 1 to 20, right?
Okay, but we're only going to read 1 to 10. So
right.
Well, we could read 11 to 20 because we read 1 to 10 last.
Do you want us to read 11 to 20 or 1 to 10?
We could read a different group of 10 pages.
I rewrote a lot of this, but so can we maybe start with page like I think it's like 4 or something like that.
So 4 to 14 or 4 to 13.
Yes. Let me see.
Okay. So that'll start us in here on Interior Dive Bar night years later.
Right. So what happened was, like I kept basically the same thing from earlier in pages 1 through 3, and then I with your advice, I think John, was one who was more adamant about this. I brought the scene where they meet earlier. It comes up a little earlier here. So in the previous scenes, you see the priest. He discovers the room with beyond time, and we see Anna at 6, who's precocious and smart, wants to go up on a rocket ship, and Jay at 6 and May at 6 going to bed at night. And Jay also is obviously quite precocious. So So May at 6 says, you know, at the end of the previous scene, don't let him shoot anything. And you hear crack. And should I do the narration?
Interior dive bar night. Years later, a cue ball launches billiard balls in all directions on a pool table. Jay, 23, tall and solidly built, a sadness sometimes haunting his eyes, watches as the balls settle to a stop. Except the 8-ball. It drops in corner pocket and we go split screen. Interior dive bar night / interior flashy dance club. Day. Dive bar. Jay picks up the 8-ball, which has some writing on it. He tosses it back on the table without a thought. Flashy dance club. Anna, 23, suicide blonde, fierce and proudly Ukrainian. Okay. Was she not proudly Ukrainian at 6? Or blonde?
I mean, what makes her proudly Ukrainian?
She's showing it
wearing
now.
a T-shirt that basically says,
I feel like
tattoos.
I just want to say when I think Ukrainian, I don't think blonde. I just want to say that. But,
Really?
Oh, I do.
okay.
Yeah,
Bleached. Suicide.
Okay, yeah, bleached, right? Yeah, like they're not naturally blonde. All right, fine.
Dances.
Phil, I want to know how we
possibly.
film Proudly Ukrainian.
That is a good.
Well, we can ask him until he answers us when we do the constructives.
Erwin,
Okay.
how do we do proudly Ukrainian?
Yeah. Just
Soccer team.
ignore it for now.
You're right.
Ignore it for now. Okay,
All right,
fair
we're going to
enough.
ignore it for now. Dances saucily amidst stuttering lights, youth on drugs, crowd around her. She shoves a young man who gets too close. Dive bar. Jay knocks in ball after ball. There's only the 8-ball left. He can see that no is written on it.
Bad news.
Lorena, 30 and full-figured, offers him a vape pipe.
I say nope to dope.
You want to be Lorena?
I'll do
It's
Lorraine.
really hard to
You
hear
do Anna.
that
Really?
line after working on PSA for so
John
long and
Lamont.
not laugh.
Where was it?
John Lamont wishes to be Lorena. Go ahead, John.
You're lost, Rumi. See you at home.
Lorena walks away. Dance club. Anna attracts a likable man and dances sexily in response. Okay. Dive bar. Jay examines the 8-ball. Opposite the no is written yes, and on the equator is printed the 8. Shooting the cue, Jay knocks the 8-ball towards the corner pocket. It rattles around and caroms away. The ball slows to a stop. No, it says, with the word perfectly facing upwards. Dance club. Anna leads the likable man into a bathroom stall.
Anna's a slut.
I'm totally cool with that. Dive bar. Jay banks the 8-ball into a far pocket. He looks down into the pocket. The ball reads yes, the word face up. Dance club bathroom stall. Anna makes out with likable man in the club bathroom. She forces his head down between her legs.
Slut.
Dude.
It's a total.
Dive bar. Fast motion. Jay plays the 8-ball off banks into holes purposefully missing, and so forth. Okay. Yep, that seems to be a sentence. It says no each time he misses, and yes each time he knocks the ball into a pocket. Interior dive bar, exterior 6-3 night, continue split screen. Anna walks down 6-3, preening herself. Interior dive bar night, continue split screen. Anna enters the dive bar as Jay stares into the pool table and split screen. Okay, so I'm just going to say this before I forget. If you're actually filming the movie, you're probably just going to film Anna leaving the bar and following her with like a steady cam. So you can show the transition and not have jump cuts.
There you go.
I think we mentioned this last time that the director and editor will decide whether or not
they'll
this
do
is
it.
split screen or not.
I just want to point out that 6th Street, I believe we're in Austin, are we not, Erwin?
Yes.
And we have 2 scripts tonight because Ruker submitted a script set in Austin, Texas, which is the first for my script group. So hooray, Austin. It is everyone's favorite location.
There you go.
Better
But
than
yeah, so
Better
you're
than
better
Houston.
off,
Way better. No one sets a location in Houston. Fuck Houston, right? Austin.
armpit of Texas.
Armpit of Texas.
The armpit of Texas. Sweaty armpit of Texas.
Do I need to redo my script and move it to Texas
Yes,
too? So
everything should be set in Austin going forward.
You know what? Let's go. I should set something in Austin.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually I should maybe go there and see what Austin's like. That might help.
You'll like it.
You'd love it. It's this. You'd love it. Yes.
I probably.
It's very
That's where
artsy.
you're at, right?
It's very artsy.
It's very artsy. The music there is great.
Yeah.
It feels small town and artsy. That's what I like about it.
Yeah, it does, but it also like I don't understand.
But
why-
it also feels a bit like Los Angeles, and there's all these property values. Strangely, in Austin, Texas.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's actually smaller than Dallas.
It
which
is.
It's weird.
It's way
Yeah.
small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also like I don't understand why there's 11 and a half street.
Anyway,
Well, you
Well, they needed a
convinced
street
me.
between 11 and 12.
yeah.
You
Apparently,
convinced
so.
me.
They
I
have an
definitely want
11
to
and a
go
half.
visit you guys in Austin.
Yeah.
We need to read his. We
they're
need
not
to
in
read Erwin's
It's
Austin.
script.
also a 9 and
But they're
3.
not. It's all gone
No,
horribly
they're in
wrong.
Dallas.
Bloody
They're in
hell.
Dallas.
We're in Dallas. We are.
Well, fine. Let's find an excuse to all meet up in Austin.
Yeah.
Damn.
Well, Austin's not that far from Dallas.
And
Well,
they're
Come
we
see
should do is
me.
we should make Irwin's movie, and then we have an excuse to go to Austin.
There we go.
We
Let's
should
do
read
it.
Erwin's script, is what we should do.
Yes. Let's proceed.
Fine, Robert. Don't
I
give
got
us
a
that
line
lip.
coming
You
up,
weren't
you know?
here for my script.
I'll read it though.
Fine. Please do. Actually, I'm looking forward to your feedback. End split screen as Anna walks up to Jay at the pool table. He looks up from some deep contemplation.
Hi there.
Are you Anna?
Like,
No, wait. Is John Lamont Anna?
No,
Yes.
I'm Lorraine.
No, no, no.
I'm the
No,
I'm the
no,
Lorraine's
director.
left. You can be
You
Anna
go
now.
Please let
You're
Diana
at my
be.
table.
This is yours.
Can't you see? It's got my name written all over it.
She takes the pool stick from Jay, bends over, and shoots at the 8-ball. The ball misses the pocket. The ball says no.
What's your name?
Doesn't matter. What are you high on? Can I have some?
Can you get some?
Anna looks him up and down.
You'll do.
Do what?
Anna is distracted by the 8-ball.
Did you write on the 8-ball?
It's your table. Did you write on it?
Anna shoots the 8-ball into a side pocket, looks inside.
Well, it says
Yeah.
yes.
I say
Yeah.
that.
Oh, sorry.
It, it says yes when you make a shot and no when you miss.
Anna laughs.
Ha ha ha! Fools read into coincidence. Coincidence.
Fast motion, because we're being the director again. She shoots the ball, missing mostly and making a few. The ball works as stated. The ball sinks in a corner pocket. POV of the ball. Anna and Jay look at it.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. It predicts the past.
Jay grabs the 8-ball.
You don't predict the past.
It's a
But that's what
spear.
makes
of-
it interesting. He's
Well,
got watches going backwards. Come
And
on.
predict the past.
I'm very good
It's
at
really
predicting
easy.
the past, actually. I'm the best.
Is that like?
I'm the master of predicting the past.
Are you talking?
I like
about
that
the
line.
predictor
Don't
or
change
Jay?
it, Erwin. I like that line. It predicts the past.
It predicts the past. It's a spear of redundancy. A toy.
Anna grabs Jay's arm seductively and forcefully, too.
Give it to me. Give it to me.
Why don't you try that seductively, like the...
Oh, sorry, I'm sorry. Give it to me.
There we go.
Oh, okay,
Uh,
that's
She's too close. Jay looks away.
Durick. What is that? Duroc?
Drock.
Duroc?
I don't know.
It means
Right.
idiot, yeah. Mhm.
With sleight of hand, Jay makes the ball disappear.
Let's go.
Where?
Your car. I'm driving.
Interior old car night. Anna drives as Jay is reclined in his seat, kind of arrogantly tossing the ball up in the air.
I'm from Chicago.
Same as me.
Anna examines Jay's face. Don't do that while you're driving, you crazy bitch.
I'm a doctoral student in physics here in UT.
Same as me.
Those
And
two
they're
should know
both
each other already. How many doctoral students are there at UT? Jesus. Anyway.
In physics,
Right.
probably like new ones, maybe 2, 3.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Anna rolls her eyes.
Yeah,
Interior Lee home in Chicago day flashback. Jay at 12, with bowl haircut, sets up a double slit experiment with a laser and box. One slit open, the laser produces a single bar of light at the far side of the box. Mr. Lee lectures rebellious May at 12.
Do better than the other students.
Hey, I was Mr. Lee last time.
Well,
Go
I'm
ahead.
Mr. Lee this time. You're
Go ahead. Go ahead.
That's your job, your responsibility.
No.
Jay opens the other slit in the double slit box. The single bar turns into an interference pattern of light.
Do you know what responsibility is?
Yes, but I ignore it.
Mr. Lee slaps May. May
Wow.
bolts toward the front door.
Variation.
That is very.
May, hold on. Responsibility is just a word early farmers invented to keep themselves plowing. That's just old, but right.
May looks at Jay, punches him in the belly. Can we have protagonists whose names are longer than 3 letters? It's really distracting.
There we go, Porchenko.
All of these things are being done for a reason. Yeah, go ahead.
Interior Orthodox
brothers.
Church Library flashback. Porchenko. Wait, are we flashing back from a flashback to another flashback?
No.
Yeah, I think we are.
Yeah, we are.
Porchenko watches Anna at 12, fashionable but still naive. Okay. How are we going to film her being naive?
The same way we're going to film her as being strongly.
Ukrainian.
Not the Ukrainian.
Right.
Yeah.
As she works on Einstein's field equations.
If you
And
assume,
if you assume that the speed of light is constant, you see that time.
Anna?
Diane, Anna.
Is relative, slowing down at a higher speeds, and as Einstein proves, time goes backwards.
Do you want to see time jump by 1 minute?
Interior labyrinth beneath the church. Night.
That would be cool.
Porchenko pulls Anna at 12 through oddly lit hallways whose walls feature both saints and scientists. Interior, the room beyond time. Night. So it has time.
Yes.
Okay. So it's actually the room that has time. Night. Flashback. Porchenko picks up a particle detector. Anna at 12 watches as he points the instrument at the clock. Nothing.
What's going on? This clocky mixed tachyons. It's
Porchenko accidentally points instruments at Anna. The readings go off the chart. He watches Anna at 12 as she studies the painting of herself at 16 years of age. The resemblance is undeniable.
God and Einstein agree on one thing.
Even on a subatomic level, destiny.
Porchenko takes Anna's hand enthralled. Interior, Jay and May's bedroom, night flashback. Okay, is this a flashback within a flashback within a flashback?
Yes.
Yes.
Cool. Jay at 12 is reading the final page of a book, while May at 12 is texting her friends. Mr. Lee peeks into the room. May closes her eyes and snores.
Good night, Moon. Good night, little mouse. I've read that book so much that's not actually the go to sleep is not an authentic line to the book.
Mr. Lee closes the door. Jay reads from the book.
I can't go on. You must go on. I will. Do you think about the end?
I think you're May.
John is playing May at 12.
Oh, John.
So that's right. The end of everything, or the end of your stupid book.
Who keeps saying you must go on?
May kicks shut the book. It's Sam Beckett's The Unnameable.
Whoa. Lofty.
At 12.
At 12.
Interior, Russian Orthodox Church recreation room, night, flashback within a flashback within a flashback within a flashback. Anna at 12, hits balls, okay, around a pool table, making note in her lab book of the balls' trajectories. Porchenko grabs the cue ball just before she strikes it.
I've investigated this for years now. Theotokos, the mother of God, will be a scientist, a physicist.
I believe John Lamont.
No, Diane is playing Anna.
I'm May.
All right, then you're
Like,
Anna.
of course. Who else can make God?
A genius she is, here and now. She lives.
Poroshenko cups Anna's face, still holding the cue ball, which presses against her cheek.
She shall birth our Messiah. Uh-oh.
Kingdom come, her will be done, dude. But seriously, this all feels very deterministic.
Poroshenko's hand runs down Anna's shoulder, her back. The door opens. It's Kasparov, shocked.
No more
No more-
tutoring, father.
Okay.
Cue ball still in hand. Poroshenko watches as Kasparov yanks Anna away. They leave. Interior, apartment bedroom night. Return to present. You can just not say flashback.
Yeah, that's what
You
I'm
could.
thinking. That's
Yeah.
what I'm thinking. Never
Yeah.
say
Return to present, not flashbacks
Yeah,
anymore.
not a flashback. Yeah.
No more flashbacks.
Jay and Anna on Jay's bed. Okay, that's a fragment. Jay watches Anna smoke Lorena's pipe. Anna notices the gun sitting on Jay's nightstand. The what?
The gun.
There's a gun.
It's Austin, Texas, bitch.
Are you Eastern European?
Ukrainian. How could I not be?
Because this is
You don't have
America,
to
and people
be.
from America are from all over the frickin' place.
You don't have to be.
I'm writing a dissertation on determinism.
Determinism.
Therefore, I was born in the Ukraine, where girls do maths and play chess and are brilliant. That I am a physicist dictates my origins.
Actually, I applied to your PhD program and I was rejected. So that means I'm a born loser.
Wait, didn't he just say he was doing the
He
thing
was in the program.
earlier?
Yeah.
Wasn't
Okay.
he saying like he's doing the same thing as you?
Maybe that was a flashback.
He's trying to get into her pants. That's what he's trying to do.
Oh, okay. Yes.
I mean,
My parents don't know I was
over the course of
rejected.
these pages.
Wow,
You
you're a
know?
born loser. Yes.
Man, this script and Danny's script are merging.
My parents,
All the
don't know
flashbacks
I was
within a
rejected.
flashbacks within a flashback.
There is
Yeah,
not a single
we
goddamn
flashback-
flashback in my script.
If we flashback to Danny's script,
Flashbacks
that's how far we
are,
flashback.
yeah. Anyways, she examines his eyes. Contact made. He turns away.
And now I'm in the police academy. They need more Asians there.
Oh.
Anna turns Jay's face toward her.
Anna.
Don't be ashamed. That is your destiny. Damn, jeez.
They cannot hold their serious faces and laugh.
I'm just
Interior, Anna's
Just
own
kidding.
day
Damn,
flashback.
dude.
Flashback.
It's been a while since we've had a flashback, so I'm glad
Yeah.
we're returning to the structure. Anna at 12 comes home from school. A laptop plays a video of Anna and Kasparov singing a Ukrainian folk song. She smiles.
Are you Anna at 12?
I'm home. Oh, I'm
Anna's
home.
Anna at everything. Anna at 12 turns the corner to the kitchen to find her father face down in a pool of
Oh.
blood, the back of his head bashed.
Harsh.
Anna at 12 is just about to scream, but the doorbell rings and she holds it in. She turns in fear.
It's Father Porchenko.
Poroshenko opens the door and rushes to Anna.
So
My
it's unlocked.
God, somewhere it went. They got him.
Poroshenko checks for Kasparov's pulse while eyeing the room.
Putin killed him. We have to get you to a safe place.
While Anna at 12 stares blankly in shock, Poroshenko picks up a bloody white billiard ball near the body.
I will hide you in the room for sanctuary. Let's go.
The doorbell
Erwin, the
rings.
scene works way better now.
The scene works a lot better now.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So this,
Right.
Yep,
The
now
scene
it makes
actually
sense.
works now.
Yeah.
The doorbell rings. Poroshenko looks at the front door. He carefully puts the billiard ball down next to the body.
Who is it?
Well, okay, now you've got your fingerprints all over the
All
burger.
over the ball. Yeah. And blood on it, blood tracing on his clothes. Yeah. Split screen.
Poroshenko says.
Who is it?
Split screen, interior Kasparov home day, exterior Kasparov home day, also flashback, inside night. The apartment, Anna at 12 turns to listen to the voice coming from what?
Oh,
The
Outside.
apartment, Anna at 12 turns to listen to the voice coming from, that is what you
Outside.
wrote, outside. Jay
Coming
at
from
12.
outside. Coming
Clothing.
from outside.
Oh, it's a flashback within a flashback within a
Yeah.
split screen. Cool. Jay at 12 holding a box of candy bars and a fistful of cash.
I'm raising money for a trip to the Large Hadron Collider. Do you?
Inside,
Who's
No,
Poroshenko?
go away, or I am calling the police.
Poroshenko picks up the cue ball again and puts it in his jacket pocket again. Exterior Kasparov home day flashback. Is this a new flashback or the other flashback?
I don't know.
I'm lost.
It's in the same. It's in the same
We need to
flow.
start
Well,
going
if you
back.
didn't
previous
put
games.
flashbacks within
Flashback.
flashbacks, it would be easier to follow. Poroshenko
Or
pulls
say
Anna along the
flashback
street.
continued.
Yes.
Right. That's what I should have put.
Yeah,
So
flashback. continue.
Poroshenko pushes a
Yeah.
junkie approaching Anna at 12.
You will stay in the room beyond time. Yes, I give it a silly name, but you will be safe there.
Poroshenko and Anna get into Poroshenko's car and they drive away as Jay at 12 watches. Interior, the room beyond time. Day, somehow. Flashback. Anna sits in a daze on the bed as Poroshenko wipes away her tears.
Theotokos, God and Einstein agree on one thing. Tell me what that is.
Doesn't matter.
That's funny. Okay, that's really funny. We are destined to be here together, here and now.
No, this is not real. This is not here. Not now.
Anna inhales to scream. Poroshenko puts his hand over her mouth.
Don't scream. They'll hear, and they will kill us. And we must live. The Messiah, the scientist savior of this universe, must be born. We together must fulfill.
Anna looks toward
All
the
right, that was 13 pages.
Something.
That was 13 pages. Read from 4 to 13. That's 10 pages. So we did our job.
Yay, go team.
Yay. All right. Erwin. So you brought back some pages. They seem clearer. We got
Yes.
two balls. We got physics. And I feel like you watched the physics videos I post to the general channel because a lot of this lingo seems kind of familiar. So I'm glad someone watches them. I find physics really fascinating.
I do too. I watch.
Do
all
you
kinds
see the
of
look on
physics
Erwin's
stuff.
face? He definitely didn't.
Yeah.
I'm
right,
not even sure what you're talking about, but yeah.
I did. All right, fair enough. And you know
So,
what?
as it turns out, Preston's been posting physics videos in the general channel, and you may find them enlightening.
I'll
We
check
I
them
guess
out.
we do this new Kamar. Welcome. Anyway. But yeah, I mean you had the script, it was cool. You revised it, and now it's even better. You're hearing the feedback, people are going for it. It's very atmospheric. We have a room beyond time. We have people who are doing stuff. We have a ton of physics references. We have people playing billiards. I mean, I'm kind of curious what plot is going to emerge from this very enigmatic beginning. But it's got a lot of atmosphere and it's cool. I mean, so I enjoy it. What do you think, Diane?
So far, it's been interesting. I'm assuming the Jay and May are brother and sister. Is that it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Erwin wrote it.
Are they
Is that why they're fucking? Sorry, Jay and May. Sorry.
No, they're not. They're not.
Ask Erwin. Are they brother and sister, Erwin?
Yes,
Well,
yes.
if they're not. If it's
Okay.
not clear, it's Erwin's fault.
I wasn't terribly sure
Okay.
because I just assumed they come off as brother and sister.
Yeah.
So I wasn't terribly sure. It wasn't addressed as such. But okay. So the dialogue is a lot cleaner than it was the last time. I like it. It's a little snappier. And I'm still kind of confused what all the flashbacks within flashbacks are.
They're not flashbacks within
constructive.
flashbacks. They're just continuations of the past timeline.
Okay, so they're the same.
So
Flashback.
you know what you could do? Instead of saying flashback, you can say 5 years ago, which is always the same time.
Yeah, I was that when
Right.
we get to constructives, I was gonna give that a note. Give it a specific time or a reference. So we're I'll
give it a year.
Like,
Yeah,
And you have their
1982.
ages. And
Yeah, like
you can
6 years
you
ago,
can go
3
off
years
of their
ago.
ages and give
Yeah.
it the time difference. That works.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
No,
say
then
that.
the houses will be at 12 and 6, and that'll be just as confusing.
Well, I'm going to wait till my turn to talk about that room of time because I like
Yeah.
it.
So
All right.
that was kind of more of my thing. But so far, I'm kind of curious how they're gonna go about with this. I'm not entirely sure where the conflict is. So,
There is that, yes.
yeah.
Well, it's clearly between the audience and their understanding of the film for now. It's classic man versus nature. I'm going to jump in and say I actually do really like this edit. It's a lot clearer. The characters actually act a little bit like people, which is really nice. Even though they're clearly being characters, they have a lot more agency than they did before. It's also much clearer what's going on with Porchenko, and obviously the cue ball stuff is no longer incomprehensible. So you've utterly succeeded, it seems, with this revision.
Yeah,
John Lamont.
The murder scene works. We follow the cue ball from Porchenko's hand to the murder scene. The line about Putin makes sense because obviously we recognize that he's just making shit up to try to distract a 12-year-old because, you know, he's the boogeyman of Ukraine. So, I mean, that works. So yeah, like a lot of that stuff works now. That I'll save that for constructive, but I'm sure somebody will probably get to it before me. Let's see what else worked. Introducing the characters earlier, I think, was definitely stronger. A good choice to do. So overall, yeah, I think this is a stronger edit than how it was presented last week.
Robert.
I agree. Actually, with most of what's been said, I'm going to talk about my favorite thing, which I wrote in some of the comments on Discord, was about that the time differential and the experience of the time room. And so I'm glad that you identified it better. You gave it a name, and it feels more of a presence and influential in what's going on with how Porchenko uses it. I'm going to put you in a safe room. It's where time is different. I agree about the murder scene. I think it still needs to be often murder scenes work best when there's a little bit of a step-by-step of where the things are. Because as you know, Danny and I both called out, you know, why are you touching the cue ball? What's going on? Well,
we're doing nice things first.
Okay,
we all have something to say about that.
Yeah,
but
we all have something to say. Perfect. I agree with that. So but I do like the way you got that in there. It works step by step better than it did before. It was incomprehensible before, and you've cleared up a lot about the billiard tables. But I'll get into the constructives more on that.
Danny, have you gone?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, then, Robert, go ahead.
Constructives. Okay, I'm going to do just three of the ones that I saw. I think you've drawn a comparison between the different time periods of when she's 12 and playing billiards and when she's older and playing billiards. I'd like to see that clarified more and emphasized more, because I think that makes it a little bit stronger that this is something she's expert at. And that would be a very interesting thing to follow through. It's always interesting to watch women billiard players. I've watched it on TV. Can't stand watching the guys. Watching the women, I don't know, just personal thing. Second thing,
I like to watch them bend over.
That's
they have more shapes.
Okay, so we're expecting that scene then in a Robert Goodwin script.
Yeah, Godwin film. Yes, absolutely. The other part I like, as I said, I'd like to see the time. Actually, this goes to Preston's point about the physics and all of that about the time differential in that room. I'd like it explored more as to what's there and what might happen within that space. What it's mentioned, but it's alluded to. It's too strong to let go as far as that goes. And then I have to address the murder scene. The steps need to be clearly defined so it makes sense of what his motivation is for picking up the billiard ball the first time and putting it back. If he's the murderer, he never would have put it back, in my opinion. So I would get the procedure down on his steps so that the motivation for each step that he makes around that murder scene clearer and the motivation. So the motivation's clear, and I'll leave it at that. Hugely improved over last week. Huge, massive.
By the way, Draco wanted us to know. This reminds me of the devil conspiracy. By the way, Draco, we might look at your script. You could come on. All right.
Yeah, we got a lot of scripts to go through.
We do need to be reminded every so often that Draco's a real human being.
What is the devil? Is that a movie? The Devil Conspiracy?
I've never heard of it. I've
never heard of it either. Yeah.
Maybe Draco can come on and tell us what the fuck it is.
Yeah, Draco, chime in.
Maybe he's a bot.
Why does it remind you of the Devil Conspiracy? And is that good or bad?
Maybe it's like a literal conspiracy. So let's assume bad.
Okay.
Okay. So my constructives are, like you can do a lot to clarify things by using better headers for your stuff, which I highly recommend. Also, like Robert has sort of got most of my constructives in the bag already, but I do feel like even if you don't use it, one of the early scenes, perhaps the one with the particle whatever that we read today,
the Hadron Collider.
No, not that one. The one in the room beyond time.
The science experiment with the part with the laser. Yeah, that was very confusing.
No, it wasn't that. I know what that was with the light. That's basic. Like, is it a particle or a wave? I know what that is. I was referring to the scene when they're in the room beyond time, and I don't know what one of the Russians like points a thing at Anna, and she's full of like tachyons or whatever, which sounds like Star Trek gobbledygook.
Wait, is that in these 10 pages? Because I don't remember that.
It was. Yes.
He's got a funny contraption that detects particles.
Yeah, that. Anyways, even if you don't use it in your final script, it is worthwhile to write some goddamn exposition for him explaining what the hell he's doing and how Anna reacts to it. Because like, I do see what you're doing with like writing to the edit and being really vague about stuff. And it does make for a thrilling read, but there's going to be a version of this that you're likely to film that is just going to come off as incomprehensible, and you're going to need that footage possibly in editing if other shit goes wrong. So, plus it's going to help your reader at this stage as well. Just have some idea what's going on, even if it's just whichever Russian it was, just saying what he's doing. Oh, this normally does this. Oh, you're full of this. There's something weird about you. Also, why is this picture here, for example? And someone actually saying something at some point.
Like especially really being more explicit.
Well, here's the thing. You've given us 20 pages. I assume it's all written like this. It's a great novel, right? But you may be overestimating your audience here, so it's worthwhile to write down some kind of explanation of what exactly people are doing, just so you have it in case you need to write it as dialogue.
I'd love it if I'm going to interrupt. I'm sorry. I'd love it if you just had him, like the whoever has the tachyon, like unwrap a package and unbox it on the screen and look at the directions for it and pull it out. Just do something funky.
Even that would be great. Yeah, and then you don't need a lot of dialogue, but at least you're showing us what's happening.
Oh, here's the new one. Oh.
I just got this tachyon reader from AliExpress.
So if I may, I think what Danny's referring to is that yes, films are mostly all visual, but I think depending on if this gets filmed and they're in the editing room and they're trying to piece it together, if all of the visuals don't work, if the special effects don't line up, if it's just becomes this visual noise scene that nobody knows what's going on, having even those lines of dialogue that you can put back in could help move that scene along. Whereas if you don't film that scene with it, now you've got to go back and do a bunch of ADR
or reshoots or whatever.
Right.
So you're going to write yourself out of trouble by, even in the action direction, giving yourself really discrete notes as to what's happening so you can write dialogue if you need to, or so you can write dialogue and then just cut it later. Yeah. But you're better off having it than not especially because you said you're filming this, right?
Oh no, I didn't say I was. I mean, I'd love to film it, but
I thought was that a different project you're filming? At any rate,
yeah. Anyways,
maybe I'm misremembering something from last week. Regardless, as a comic, but like you should still have it as if this is going to be a motion picture, you should have all the parts like they should be ready to film. 10% overage is fine on your final estimated running time. So having the extra stuff, that fits in budget, like dialogue, really will get you out of trouble. And for us, it'll certainly help. And we'll ask you many fewer questions because things will make more sense immediately.
It's easier to cut than to add.
Yeah. And if I may, going off of the header suggestion, I think using years or dates would probably be smart, because one of the things that I had a question of when they were reading was you had May at 12 texting. Well, my first thought was, on what? When was this scene? Texting? If we're talking, this scene was, they're 23 now, so that was 11 years ago ish.
So 2006,
right.
maybe
So is she texting on a flip phone? Is she texting like what? That is a big thought, and that will tell not only your reader, but it'll tell your director exactly how to set up this room.
Your props guy.
Right. Yeah. Everybody knows, okay, this is 2006. She's texting. It's on a flip phone. It's on a BlackBerry.
Yeah. Someone buy this woman a Nokia.
Yeah.
We're good to go.
Exactly. Because I'm here thinking, okay, well, what time? Because that was my first thought was, were they even texting when this scene came out? I had to do a little bit of math to try to figure out if their present day is present day. So
yeah, it could be present day.
Yeah, that helps.
We don't know.
And this. And it could be like my story, Project Delta, takes place in the not too distant future. So like the main character is arrested in 2025. The main story takes place 3 years in the future. So, and I set all that up on purpose. So that kind of also will help too. If you want to try to, are they 12 in the present? So this is actually taking place 10 years in the future, or however you want to play with time, because obviously you're playing with time. And speaking of playing with time, two things. One, I don't know if you're. I still feel like we need more time with them in the present before you start going to your flashbacks. You rely on them too much. And I feel like the audience needs to fall in love with these characters in the present today. Because if we don't care about them, none of these flashbacks matter. It's just stuff. We need to fall in love with who these characters are today in the here and now. Because otherwise that doesn't really matter. So I really feel like when you introduce them, we should go 10 minutes with them. Because that 10 minutes is going to tell us, even if you want to start with some of your flashback gobbledygook for the first 3 pages, that's fine. Like, set up your concept, big concept, time, all of that. That's great, because all of your sci-fi nerd and physics nerds are all going to eat that up. But at the end of the day, it's going to come down to the relationship between these two characters, and the audience needs to fall in love with them within 10 minutes. And I don't feel like we spend enough time with them. Anna's kind of a slut. We don't really know why. Her being molested by her priest can lean into that, but I don't feel like we got there yet. It still doesn't make her a very likable character. Jay has a bland line about not doing drugs. Nobody cares. If this is taking place in the present or in the not too distant future, nobody cares about marijuana anymore.
It also makes him a less likable character.
It kind of does.
Does make what?
Even in the way that he presented it. Even if, like, okay, if I'm trying to think, I don't really have any. Okay, if I was at a bar and somebody was smoking a joint and they offered it to me and I turned it down because I don't smoke marijuana, never had an interest to. I would make a joke about whiskey is my drug of choice, because that is my drug of choice.
They're both pretty
Like,
good.
Yeah.
I mean, my usual line is like,
So-
you know, I'm not gonna put anything up my nose that you can't make in a bathtub.
There you go.
So like there are
Have
there
you seen
are
Saltburn?
there are
I
ways
haven't,
that you can
actually.
play him turning it down for whatever reason, or if you want him to just, again, nobody in 2025 is going to care if the main character takes a drag. Maybe he takes one, and then when he's offered a second time, he could say, no, I've got to drive home tonight, or I got to work tomorrow morning, so I'm just going to go light tonight. You know, like you can play, if you were trying to make him more like, I'm assuming that's what you're going with. I'm assuming you're trying to make him more down to earth, level headed, responsible type of person.
Oh, is that why he also made him a horrible liar?
But he's also in the police academy, you know, so he can't, you know, be.
Oh,
have drugs
there you
in
go.
his
Police
system.
Academy. Do they drug test? Does the police academy have rules against marijuana? Do they drug test? That's a good line. Oh, I can't. I got a drug test tomorrow. Boom. Now we're going to know why the hell does he have a drug test tomorrow? Like, so like there's a lot of, I think there's ways that you can play that without making him come off as a snob. And I think she's way too slutty, as much as I love me some loose women in stories.
You do.
You know.
But I feel like for these two characters to make us really, really fall for them and have them fall in love with each other, I really feel like they need more time together, and I think it needs to be a bit more than just boy meets girl in a bar, they go back, have sex, and now they're madly in love, and it's destiny that these two are together. I'm not buying that, and I feel like
he's selling that pretty hard, though. We'll give him that.
I feel like if you can't sell that in 10 minutes, then I think you're gonna have a problem selling the rest of it, even as good as some of your concepts are. And I still want to know what the hell is up with this room. But I'm okay with not knowing
love
what's
the
up
room.
with this room.
I want more room. Absolutely, more room.
Yeah. So like I give us some crazy shit in the room, give us time with our main heroes, and then you can dabble back that crazy room, because the crazy room was what will keep us engaged, assuming that you nail that. But we won't really care about what happens in the crazy room if we don't care about the people in the room. And you got to get us to like the people in the room first, which is Jay and Anna.
That's a good point.
John just sort of, said a couple of things that one of which is a thing I didn't actually articulate very well, and the other is something that I just sort of remembered. The characters are more likable in this draft, so more of that would be great. But like, we do need to very much like these characters, and it's not 100% if we do yet, because we spend so much time in these flashbacks. The other is like the police academy thing, like, does kind of rub me the wrong way, as like, oh, I can't be a particle physicist, I'll join the police. I don't know how things are in the States.
There's a saying, if you can't do, teach.
Well, whatever. That saying is still bullshit.
It is, but my point is, if he can't get into this big academic thing, there are other things that he can use his skills.
Well, there's
and passion
that, but
for.
also like the Toronto Metropolitan Police actually won a discrimination lawsuit recently for rejecting people for being too smart.
There you go.
And so actually
they won a discrimination because they were hiring.
You can discriminate against.
they're allowed
smart
to
people.
for corporate culture reasons, apparently.
Yeah.
If you're too smart, they can reject you.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
They don't need smart cops, and I kind of
And
understand.
they kind of don't want smart cops.
Oh my
I understand. I
No, the
kind of-
army does that. The military does that all the time with different where they
It's
put
true.
you.
Yeah.
So
Smart
they don't want
people
a
that
smart
may well
person.
be a thing in the States at any rate, and actually, like, a possible plot point. He's in police academy, but then they don't let him in because he's too smart, because he nearly got into a physics PhD program. Or B, like, maybe he already is aware of that and is even more depressed or something. Give him
That'd be a great scene.
problem.
Him-
None of these
him
characters
getting
have
dressed-
a problem.
That's a great scene. He gets dressed down in where they all sit in the academy room where they're getting instructed, and he answers a certain question, like being real smart, and he gets put down for it, and he just gets slammed. You're Mr. Smart Guy, and you think you're smarter than all of us. So what are you going to do when the bullet's firing towards you? Tell me about your physics answer for that.
Something like that. So, anyways,
Use physics to dodge bullets.
Yeah, well, who was that? John Wick? Who dodged the bullet?
Oh, that was Equilibrium.
Okay.
Yeah.
The-
Well,
with
my
the-
whole point
with
is, my whole point is, if he's
Also
a
the
physics
Matrix.
nerd, you could make a joke about him. Somebody could be teasing him about using physics to dodge bullets or something like
Yeah.
that. And maybe
Yeah.
he's so smart he doesn't get the joke, and he says no because the velocity of the bullet is X, Y, and Z, and the human body can only move
exactly.
X, Y,
And that
But
increases
then
their
characters
agency.
don't
To
have
Danny's
talk
point,
each other, and we
It-
can't
it
really
makes it-
have that in our present time.
What do you say, Danny? I'm sorry.
Well, then characters would actually need to talk to each other in the present time, and they haven't started doing that yet.
Right.
Anna-
Yeah, they're
no,
too
Anna and
busy
Jay
having
did.
sex in bathrooms.
They're not even having sex. Well, yeah, Anna is. At any rate, there's certainly a lot more there, and this is a good revision. So do keep up this direction.
You got anything, Diane?
I like the room. Basically, a lot of the thing was said. I do like the room. One of the things I seem to gonna say something is like there's absolutely no chemistry between Jay and Anna.
Okay.
Like zero. Like I didn't like, as you said, you were talking about this relationship. They flirt a little bit, they have sex, and then they just kind of like suddenly in love. And
I'm
kind of
taking that personally, just so you
Yeah,
know, because
yeah.
I read Jay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, well, it's
Well, I
just
mean,
like
the delivery had a lot to do with it, clearly.
well, it's just that it's just like it's not. It wasn't necessarily witty. It wasn't really flirty. It was just kind of like, I guess like
They have
Convenient.
the same voice.
well, they just
that's a
didn't
point.
vibe,
Ooh, good point.
huh?
Mm.
Same.
Yeah, they
had
did
the
have
same
the same voice,
Yeah.
and they didn't. It wasn't really like an interaction between them or any repartee, should I say? It was just kind of like it was like going through motions.
Well, there
What
was
if- What if
was-
they're flirting and teasing each other while they're playing
But they-
pool? Like they're
they
like,
were a
That's
little.
what I
bet.
would like.
like
they
what
were-
if they have a bet or something, and it's like, I bet you the next round of drinks, I bet you this, and then you just keep elevating the stakes, and
Yeah.
then show them both having a good time, getting drunk while
Yes.
they're playing pool and in competition.
Uh,
It's cheesy conflict, but it's still a conflict.
He-
of a
yeah,
sort.
he needs to
And
make
it's
a
also
bet.
like it's
and then at the end of it, they're both completely drunk, toasted out of their mind, and then they start making out, and then you can lead into the bedroom scene, because at least they're both young and at least flirty and cutesy together, and then
and then you kind of have like, well, this is awkward, or are we gonna still keep going? So it's like, how much do you remember?
Mhm.
So it's kind
yeah,
of
like
you
like
should
there
have-
Oh,
that's
the morning
there's-
after. Oh,
right,
Yeah,
the morning after scene.
like
morning-
the morning
yes,
after scene,
exactly.
like, do they regret it? Do they like it? Are they
Or
like?
did
How
they
do
even
the
say
12-year-old
anything?
versions of that?
Do they
Yeah,
even
I
say anything? Do they like
Yeah.
look at each other uncomfortably and one walks out the door?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, that's
It's
another
a
one too.
It's a visual art,
Yeah,
And
I-
then
I
they
just
could be
wanna
thi-
say,
and then we could be spending time with them thinking about what happened. The other
Right.
person, they can't get the other person out of their mind.
I should probably like. Yeah, I'm kind of
I-
like guilt being a part of it, and they end up meeting each other again. And it's just like, hey, do you remember blah blah blah, blah, or like, I'm sorry, or
Or maybe they're like
I had a
AJ
good
and Deborah,
time.
just super toxic towards each other and can't escape.
yeah.
Erwin, how far have you gone with this relationship? Is there like another 60 pages that defines them, or have you gone past 20?
I think their relationship goes through time or something like that.
Well, yes.
All
Well,
relationships
I don't
go
know
through
what you
time,
mean,
John.
Robert, but the screenplay is complete. I mean, so the relationship is.
We're pulling bricks out of your
goes
wall.
through
Then.
the entire. What's that?
We're pulling bricks out of your wall then with some of these suggestions, maybe.
Well, no, I mean, I'm not going to remove bricks just because you told me to remove bricks, but no, the relationship goes all the way through, right, through the entire screenplay. Like, I think John, one of you said that, yeah, this relationship is really what the story is about. And
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, it's gonna run.
It's kind of like Cloud Atlas.
Yeah.
A film I enjoyed.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it too. I thought it was pretty good.
But the thing is that with Cloud
Naked Asian
Atlas,
ladies helped.
let me give you we're gonna talk about Cloud Atlas for a while. They have their own little voices. They have their own little personalities. This is all like kind of the same. So they're not very distinct. They kind of like don't have a repartee, not a lot of wit, and so it just kind of comes off as blah. So I feel like that could be done something that has conflict, something that actually has flirtation and has chemistry, and it lacks all of that, and I think you can do better.
It also lacks Tom Hanks.
That's true.
Attach
Charisma.
him.
It lacks.
Attach him to the script.
It actually lacks a lot of charisma. So because they just come off as, yeah, same. You same. I'm like, eh.
And then it's all lies, and she's totally cool with it.
And I'm assuming that he's lying, though.
That's the true.
I assume he's lying because but.
All right. Well, people gave a lot of notes. I think Erwin, it was better than last time, and I look forward to the next draft. And Erwin wants trying to join live, but it's not letting me have access to it. Okay, fair enough. Sorry, man. All right. Meanwhile, we have Erwin, you got any comments before we move on to Blood Legacy?
Well, obviously, I'm not going to agree or disagree with everything that y'all said. So,
you don't have to.
I'm gonna, I think y'all will probably hate the next 10 or 20 pages. But
why are we going to hate it?
We don't hate this.
Yeah. Why are we going to hate it?
You understand that even though we are giving you critiques, that doesn't mean that we hate this.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that. Don't
We
take
gave you so many
and don't whatever you do not become a Draco, trash this, and start a whole new script with 10 new pages.
No. No, don't do that.
Just because we gave you a critique doesn't
Draco
mean start a whole
It's
new
going to
script.
become a verb.
Okay.
Don't do a Draco.
Yes.
Yeah, don't pull a Draco on us.
Yeah,
Robert,
I
I love this. I'm so glad
I'm
you
gonna give you an
joined. We are
example. Let me
100%
give you an
doing that.
example of this. So I've worked into animation. I've worked into a couple games, couple movies, a couple of TV series as well. Now I was a guest at a student critique where I actually looked at all the students' work of my friend who was the professor there, and I looked at all of their works and I gave them critiques. Now, and some of them I was quite brutal with, but the thing is that what the students end up learning is that I am not here to tear you down to make you feel bad. I'm here to make sure that you go into this field prepared. I am here to make sure that you are better than the person who is trying to take your job.
Yes.
That is what I'm trying to do. Do not take these personally. I'm talking about this through experience.
No, I'm not taking it personally.
No. Let me continue, please. Please don't take this personally because it's never meant to be. What I'm trying to do is we're trying to make you better. We're trying to give you more options. You can either take it or leave it. That's because it's not hurting us necessarily. What is it? Is it going to make you better? Is it going to make you a better writer? Is it going to make you go out there and actually make this into a film or whatever type of thing you want? You want to be out there. And the thing is that you could go through 30 drafts before something is perfect. And that's completely fine. You can go through one draft, which is unlikely, but you can still do that. But that takes it. When Picasso was told by someone, hey, I love your drawings. Could you draw me something? He scrapped something up in 15 seconds. And he goes that's it? Well, you owe me now $10,000. That's it. But you only took 15 seconds for that. It's that took me an entire lifetime to learn. And sometimes that happens. So to perfect your art, you got to keep trying. You got to keep going. And yeah, you might say like, well, I think it's perfect now. But the thing is that you're going against like also the audience and someone, there's always going to be someone better than you and someone quicker than you. So keep going, keep working on it. So yeah, be better.
And that goes to everybody, not just.
That goes to
just you,
everybody.
Erwin.
Yeah,
I think you were saying
I'm
that to
not
the students, not to
worried.
Erwin.
I'm not worried about. I was just
I think
kind
she
of
was talking about
forewarning
this
y'all.
Yell at
Okay?
someone earlier.
know, like-
Okay.
Like,
Yeah, but I will tell you this: after I went to that class, the students were really nervous when I came there. But after that, they started giving each other input and started critiquing each other, and they actually got better the second time I came over, and I saw them improve drastically because they kind of took what criticism that they can do and what criticism they will throw out. They say like, well, I like it this way. I feel that this is how it's going to go. And most of them improved. So
There you go. Meanwhile, I want to say hello, Larry, who says, I mean, take the structural criticism to heart and keep what you like about your story.
Larry, why don't you come on and join us?
One draft gets you Last Jedi.
wow.
Ain't that the truth?
Oh, that's it.
Meanwhile,
Yeah,
welcome to the
that's
show,
how you get
Draco.
Palpatine
Good
returned
to have you.
somehow.
Oh,
I
no.
loved everything about that line, and I will fight you if you have a problem with it. Can you think of a better line that encapsulates that film?
It's like one draft gets you Last Jedi.
All right,
Larry,
we
send me a message on Discord or whatever.
Woof.
Tell me what you mean. Okay.
Stinky feet.
Me?
No, me.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yes.
We have Robert's script, Blood Legacy. Is this page 60?
It's getting there, yeah.
Okay.
So
This is
we're near
51 to
the end of the
60.
second act. We're near
So this
the
is
end of
51
the
to
second
60.
act.
So we're near the beginning of the second act.
We're near the end of the second act.
So
Oh,
is
yeah,
this
yeah, no, we're
50? So this is 51 to 60.
This is roughly.
roughly,
Okay.
yeah. Who do you want me to read this?
Yeah.
Interior,
Uli!
interior boardroom day. Uli freezes Hess. The BM members react in panic.
Guard, does he have a gun? Is there a bomb?
BM3 jumps up to run to the door. Uli waves his hand, this time with anger, and the board member is frozen in stride. BM2 starts to hyperventilate. BM2 tries to call on her cell phone. Uli waves once again, and they too are frozen. Who wants to be Uli?
Give it to Robert. He does an accent.
Okay,
Robert.
I'll do it. He does an accent. We have no more patience with you.
Yay!
You want to be Hannah?
Sure.
You
Mine?
should also do an accent.
Mine?
Yes.
Whatever.
Do your best Minnesota.
Minnesota. Oh, I have no
No.
idea how to do Minnesota.
Yeah, there you go. You got it.
Minnesota.
Go Gophers.
My God. What did he do to them?
Draco, you up for reading? No, apparently not. All right. John Lamont.
You going to do Nolan?
Yes.
It's mass hypnosis. I read about it. I guess it works.
Madison turns to Uli.
Uli, can they hear me?
He nods, affirming they can, gestures for her to continue.
We came here to reason with you, and you still won't listen. The planet is at risk. Climate change is real. Human contribution to it is real. We need to do our part, and you will do your part. It may cost you some profits in the near term. We must ensure the quality of life for future generations.
I have a solution.
He snaps his fingers, and the board members' heads fall back. Their eyes roll up until only the white is showing. Mouths open, their tongues drool and hang out to their chins.
Throw them out the window. Throw them out the window.
Yeah.
You will announce that Coal Forever is beginning a program to reduce pollution, reduce carbon emissions from coal processing, and from the coal-derived products you manufacture. You will work for 3 years at half your annual pay, suspend all your bonuses, and not exercise any of your stock options.
Man, Uli, for being around for 2,000 years, man, this guy's very sad.
He knows how the stocks.
He knows. He's in the stock.
He knows all the stocks.
You know,
This is
I
like-
feel like
all
we
the
need a
stocks.
scene where Uli's like reading a magazine of like, you know, like Economy Today or
Yeah.
Climate
His
Change
eyes
Today
start
or something.
Back and forth. His expression is extreme anger. Uli snaps his fingers, and the board members' eyes roll back. Their tongues slowly retract, their mouths close. Uli turns to Hess and whispers in his ear.
Hess, you will do the right thing. You will not interfere. You will exit as CEO of Cold Forever. You will no longer be heard from in any way or by any means. You are done. You will do the right thing, an honorable act.
Madison's worried expression shows about the tone of Uli's commands.
Uli, what are you saying? How do you know any of this will happen?
Uli looks at Madison, touches her chin.
This is what I do.
But the police will be arrested because we are so well prepared.
No one will call security.
wasn't
The
I Hannah?
police will not arrest our team.
Well, Danny's Hannah now.
Oh, okay.
He gestures towards the board members.
I'm lost. They will not remember we were even here.
And Hess?
Uli pauses, looks at Madison.
Let's roll.
Dissolve to interior scribe's quarters.
Wait,
Night.
what? You didn't even throw him out a window?
No, there was no window. There was no
Bullshit.
defenestration.
And there was no vampire biting.
After all that, you didn't even kill a guy?
There's no defenestration in the script. Sorry. Interior scribe's quarters. Night. A small oil lamp lights the room. The scribe inks his feather quill and begins to write in Aramaic. After the first few words, the writing turns to English.
We observe the hubris of Ulysses, who in his pride believes his wits surpass those of all men. His burden heralds a deeper despair, revealing the intolerance of life, of hate and vitriol. The relentless struggle to correct the wrongs he knows, and only survival is within his grasp again and again and forever. And that's not what we just saw in the previous
That's
scene.
not at all what we just saw in this movie at all.
Superimpose. Romans 12:21. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. Sound general advice.
Pretty good advice.
Interior can offices day. After driving all day through the night, the can team huddles in their makeshift office just outside the Everglades. Hannah and Nolan return with provisions for a meal. The hibachi is glowing. The hamburgers are cooking.
Rare, please. Very rare.
I usually like them well done, but I'll try rare this time. Sounds interesting.
That was
Who's
fun.
Hannah?
Oh, I am. Sounds bloody gruesome to me. Make mine charcoal.
Madison.
Didn't she used to kill cows?
That was
No, that's Madison.
Oh, you're right. Okay, my bad.
But also, rare steak and burgers would not satisfy a vampire because it's not actually blood in the meat.
Yep.
Well, our vampire doesn't kill people or really drink a lot of blood, so
Yeah, you're
is he
true. That's
really
right.
a
So that would,
vampire if he doesn't do vampire things?
You know, he entered a building without being like invited.
He
So-
used his superpowers during
He
the day.
sparkles in the
Dracula didn't do
daytime.
that.
True, yeah.
He hasn't burned up in the daytime yet. So,
Yeah.
No, he doesn't have to burn up in the daytime, but like using his powers during the day is a strict no-no.
yeah.
Who we got? Hannah, right?
Madison says to sit in a corner first.
Madison sits in the corner, teeth are clenched in anger. Madison confronts Uli.
So
I
who's
was
going to be
Hannah, dude. You were.
Who's Madison?
I guess I'll be
Oh,
Madison.
go on.
Madison.
You were
Oh,
technically.
Diana's Madison.
Yeah, I guess I'm
Go
Madison
ahead.
now.
All
Sorry,
right.
Diane.
The news just said that there was a suicide. Is that supposed to be in like Minnesota too?
Yeah.
Okay.
The news
Wait,
just said.
wait.
The
The
news
death
just said-
happened off scene?
In the vampire movie? Yep.
The,
Holy
the news
okay.
just said that there was a suicide at the FC building. Apparently, Hess jumped out
See, I
At the 50th
predicted it.
floor
I
window.
predicted it. He was gonna get defenestrated. The team listens in silence. Uli slowly looks over to Madison. Madison looks out her pack of cigarettes. There, takes out her pack of cigarettes. One left. She tosses a crumpled wrapper on the table. Uli flicks it with a finger to read the label.
Gitan, I did not know that people in America would smoke such a cigarette.
Madison ignores his slight.
The issue is morality. Is it moral to make people against their will do what you want? Do what you
They're
want.
eco-terrorists. Terrorism is all about making people do things.
They
against
haven't
their
done a
will.
single terrorist thing. They're not eco-terrorists.
Well, they
No,
used a vampire.
okay.
They're wannabe
The bad
eco-terrorists.
guys called them eco-terrorists.
Just because they're bad at it doesn't make them less of eco-terrorists. Just because
Well,
they're bad at
The
it.
issue is morality. Is it moral to make people against their will to do what you want? How is this different than outright oppression or slavery?
A decent question, Madison. Madison begins pacing back and forth, arguing with herself as much as with the team. She draws deeply on her smoke.
That is not what we want. Can seeks to convince people of the moral imperative regarding climate. Future generations, if they are to survive, need a planet that is viable. It is so basic. Are we reduced to hypnotizing the movers and the shakers into making the right decision? Is it even tenable in the long run?
What right decision was made? He jumped out a window. Is that the right
Uli-
decision?
Uli uses
Well,
a,
I know we didn't see him jump out the window, and I'll tell you right now that was the wrong decision.
Uli uses a small piece of the paper shopping bag to wipe blood from the hamburger at the corners of his mouth.
It's not blood.
You presume these people follow the same moral compass. They do not. Their allegiance is to whoever pays them. There is no moral imperative. As a business, the defined goal is to create wealth.
Uli now stands, gesturing with a clear plastic cup filled with deep red Cabernet.
It is a fool's errand trying to change the tenets of commerce. They are prehistory. Business is the basis of human interaction. In this regard, my goals for saving humanity align with any business person.
The team glares as Uli circles the improvised dinner table.
We need humans to survive, to do business with, to create future generations.
Then
If
I
you
may
cannot
feed on.
make it clear that business will benefit from reducing the human impact on climate change, you have no purpose worth their time.
For fuck's sake, we are the humans. Saving humanity is, in fact, what we are trying to do. My objection, our objection to what has happened in the CF boardroom is about your tactics. The security guard bleeding on the floor, the board members frozen, commanded into your bidding. The death of the Hess. You hypnotized him, mesmerized his soul. He jumped out a window from the 50th floor. Bloody guards and induced suicides are irreprehensible and cannot be a part of our methods.
You are needlessly, even foolishly naive. You worry about a guard who lost some blood and is now fully recovered. You fret over a deeply bitter and troubled CEO. These souls I know. That is the power I bring. This is the advantage you have with me on the team. Yes, the weak will fall, the bullies put down.
I just want to say I liked Hess, and
I
I'm
wish
glad
any of this quality of dialogue were in that boardroom scene.
yeah.
I actually really
and
I really like this dialogue.
And I like that he's become the Hess. That is
The
all.
Hess.
He's
the Hessian.
He's the Hess. Uli approaches Madison, peers into her eyes.
But the strong and the good will survive and ensure a future, and nobody's hands are clean in making this so.
You sound like you want a super race. We are not about anything like that. This is horrible. You are heartless.
Oh, I have a heart. I have a will to live. And you, Madison, so conflicted, so blinded by your own righteousness. I know you have supported the pro choice movement. Is that not a death wish on the unwanted? Those children no one can afford to raise properly. A super race of well heeled is your choice. Children of parents that can afford to raise a child. And talk about greed. The woman who becomes pregnant and chooses an abortion because she has a career to tend to.
Uli's pretty going hard.
I like him.
Yeah, like where was any of this before?
Yeah, dude, this is nice. I like this.
Like,
I just wanted-
were you like digging through your closet and found a voice?
Ah.
Madison rages. Go ahead.
Go, Matthew Rages. These are apples and oranges issues. One has nothing to do with the other.
Uli adopts a superior tone, almost singing the words.
But they do. They do. You are making moral choices. You are willing to force them on others. It was you who wanted to break into the boardroom. It was you who asked for my help. You didn't qualify what tactics were acceptable, or as you put it, moral. Own your role here completely. No one is innocent. Everyone is guilty. We all have a stake in the outcome. The only question is it worth the cost?
Boom, 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 boom.
Uli walks the room, looking each person in the eye.
You, right now, are unable to make that decision. You all are politicians in this battle for survival, blinded by the fog. Whoops, don't move it. Blinded by the fog of war, arm's length from the inevitable terrors. If you cannot stomach what is needed to be done, do not question my motives. There is no difference in your vision of survival and mine. That is what drew us together. We are not different. We both want the planet to survive and for humans to flourish.
Hannah is seething in silence, then a burst of emotion.
Danny, you're Hannah.
Oh, sorry. I've heard enough of your superior logic. It's not okay to leave a person on the floor in a pool of blood. I don't care what you say. Enough of your moral equivalencies. You're evil. You use evil powers. Who the hell are you? What the hell are you? Why did none of this happen before?
Uli displays his anger for the first time. He has never been challenged like this, and his.
Wait, really?
It is a new feeling and betrays his cool self-control.
Who are you to question me? I don't kill. That does make me better. And as for who I am, well, I am the means you all have chosen to help meet your goals. And you think you are better than me? You are not. My needs define who I am. How I meet those needs is justification in itself.
And there you have it. The ends justify the means. He's right. We are evil. We are guilty.
Stop! Everyone stop! We have a goal. We do have a moral compass. I don't accept your characterization of climate change as forcing my moral standards. Climate change is everyone's goal, or at least should be. No one, not a soul wants to perish because it was too expensive to do the right thing. It is not the answer.
Madison chokes up.
Damn it! I won't cry. This is my life's mission. I know it's vital to me, to the world. I just can't. I can't be one who resorts to violence. I tried, and it was wrong.
A silence takes hold. Uli looks around. He speaks in measured tones.
Think of me what you will. I have a past, a long and complicated legacy. I will not discuss it, and I will not force my ways onto you.
Uli has their attention as their eyes follow his every move.
But we have something in common, something important and vital. We must find a way to work together. Take direct action, forceful, non-lethal, undeterred. I do not kill. We will not kill.
You kind of did, though.
I mean, that did fly out of wind.
The power was it quavering voice?
Yeah.
Quavering
You
voice.
can do it.
The power of the mission is to save us all, to save humanity. That is what motivates all of us. We must be a team. We must work together. And no one can die from our actions. Everyone.
They all put their hands out, form a circle, and Uli looks at everyone.
I know the term. This is very kumbaya.
Wait, this is
Kumbaya.
not the scene. No, okay, hold on.
You are so millennial.
Robert, this is not the scene to insert jokes in.
I don't know. I kind of like it.
That's multimillennial to you.
Nolan laughs, the others groan. Superimpose Micah 7-8. Though I have fallen, I will rise. Interior office hallway morning. Walking down the hallway of Immigration Customs Enforcement and Eastern Annex offices, the strobing fluorescence caused Nick to wince on each pulse. Nick hesitates as he reaches for the doorknob. He looks around and sighs, turns the doorknob again. For the upteenth time, the loose handle cuts the top of his index finger right on the knuckle.
Shit, that's going to hurt for a week.
Blood appears slowly. Interior ice office, same. Eddie, age 29, looks up from his desk, mouthful. Crumbs from the prune Danish fall on his shirt. He raises his coffee cup, saluting Nick's arrival. Nick nods his recognition, reaching his desk. Nick sees a note attached to his desk lamp. See me, Esb. His boss, Abe Boskin, age 47. Nick sighs and lays his threadbare backpack across his deck. Jimmy Burrows, 50, sits face to face with Nick. He looks up, engages Nick.
Abe's pissed. Pissed at you.
Nick does not respond.
Straw that broke his back. He claims. I can't.
Nick still does not react. Puts his coat on the rack next to their jointed desks.
Nick.
Somebody's Abe.
Yeah, the call comes from the dark end of the office. Abe sticks his head out, disembodied by the inadequate lighting. He withdraws into his office like a turtle into his shell, leaves the office door. Nick sighs again, walks the aisles to Abe's office. Abe begins, his voice strained with anger.
You
took
took
the
the
car
car
for the
over
entire day.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Irvin.
We had 2 skiffs of Haitians come on shore, and the team had to take an Uber. The South Florida media had a field day. ICE agents use Uber to capture poor refugees. What headline?
Abe goes on with his rant while Nick daydreams recalling his days with the elite AOI force. All right. So, I wondered if you incorporated some of our notes from last week into this week, because we certainly had a lot of dialogue where we were questioning the moral intentions and the ethics and the means of the eco-terrorists can. And, we certainly had some compelling dialogue, so cool. I liked it. What do you think, Dave?
I actually loved this entire monologue.
Okay.
From Uli very much, because finally we're kind of getting to I've been constantly questioning, why is he with these people?
He's become an eco-terrorist.
Yeah, he's gonna be eco-terrorist.
Yeah.
So I can't help but go why?
Yeah.
But why?
They did seem to I'm waiting for constructors, but I would like to know why he's suddenly come around to their point of view.
Yeah, but the thing is that it seems like this is kind of the reveal, I suppose. It's just you're just spouting nonsense, and I'm here, and I'm just to show that how much of a fool's errand this is.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I really like it. There's actually conflict here between him and the others. The dialogue is snappy. I really like it. The thing is that with all this monologue that was going on, getting too slight into criticism, the one that came before it, I wasn't really feeling it that much.
And we'll get to construct.
Well, I'll get it. But the thing is that I could see where the setup was coming from.
Okay.
And seeing it going as the events were going down, and seeing him finally kind of reveal this. So I like that. I think it could be a little shorter, but I still like it. So
down the line.
Yeah, the conflict, the interchange between Uli and Madison was pretty strong. You hit on a couple heated political talking points. That was kind of interesting. So I that's kind of like you start going into that territory, you start risking turning off people.
I mean, they are terrorists.
You
But,
keep saying that, Preston, but they keep not acting like it.
Yeah, they don't act like it.
Yeah,
Yeah, they don't act
that
like
is
it.
true.
They don't act like
They're
it.
activists. How's that? They are activists.
They are
they
definitely acting like activists.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that was kind of ballsy. But yeah, I mean, overall, the conflict in the scene was good. Seeing these two characters have differing opinions on how to. They both recognize this. At least they both appear to recognize the same problem, but have different methodologies on how to address it. Well, come to think of it, I don't really know what Madison's policy is to address it, but it seems like they have differing opinions on how to address the issue. I'll get into that later. So it was nice seeing them basically both the conflict seemed to center around them recognizing the same problem and having different methods on how to address it. So that is a good setup for conflict. So I'll end it there.
Danny.
Yeah, the personality in your head that wrote the dialogue between Uli and Madison, I wish was writing the dialogue more often. It was they were talking about stuff. It seemed like something was happening. People had an actual disagreement about stuff that seemed to matter for the story. And that was very refreshing to see.
Erwin.
I like the taking into account the last week's, or not last week's, but the last 10 pages and these 10 pages. What I'm into is the goofy sort of tone that you kind of take on sometimes, sort of even within a serious a sort of a serious situation, the goofy edge to it. And I think that the reason why that works so well for me is because you have a vampire in a non-vampire movie. And
We'll get to criticisms later.
Yeah,
no, I'm saying this is what's good about it.
That's a great
This is
thing.
what makes it goofy for me, and that's why I like it, and that's why I like what was that scene with the cakes, the pastries, or whatever it was last time.
Very donut and Hess.
Yeah, it's very, it was very 80s and stuff, and I really like the kumbaya line in this.
Yeah, that was
pages.
great. I legitimately laughed at that.
Anything else, Erwin?
That's for it for now. Yeah.
Draco, are you here?
Yeah.
Well, did you hear any of the script?
Yeah. No, I like the pacing of it. It's interesting listening to it for the last couple of weeks now. How the pacing it's kind of on there. My main concern is him being a vampire. Is he like not eating? Is he like substituting blood for something else? Like, what's his deal with not devouring someone in one of the scenes?
Or in any of them.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that.
Well, is that your constructive, Draco?
That's some foreshadowing, John.
Yeah, is that your constructive note?
No, I liked it though. It's an interesting story. But
if there's anything you could make it better, what would it be?
For me, would be more carnage.
Yeah, like a vampire.
A vampire story. We would like there to be more blood. All right, Erwin.
I guess from my previous comments, I obviously don't think that it has to be a vampire movie to have a vampire in it, and that's what I like about it. But I did not like the pacing in these 10 pages. I thought the pacing was a lot better in the previous 10 patients, in large part because of these this argument, this moralistic. I have no problem with moralistic, for instance, I really like the first 8 issues of the Zdarsky Daredevil series. You probably have no idea what I'm talking about. But
I've
yeah,
met
there's
Chip, but I haven't read his Daredevil.
what's that?
I know Chip, I haven't met his Daredevil. Or I haven't read his
So
Daredevil.
Danny knows the writer, but not the comic.
What's interesting about it?
Chip. Oh yeah. So
Chip. Oh yeah,
Chip Zdarsky.
yeah. Chip Zdarsky. He actually did a great job on Daredevil.
Dan
Yes.
knows Chip Zdarsky.
Yeah.
Well,
You did-
I'm
you did
into
a-
this. I'm into subtle and maybe not so subtle arguments about right and wrong and how to go about doing what's just and so forth. But this discussion just did not do it for me, and I probably would have changed the channel, frankly. But I think I know you have the potential to get back to entertaining someone like me. But that being said, I'm me, and I think you may be entertaining other people, with your work.
Danny.
We're doing constructives?
Yes.
All right. So I love vampire stuff. John is going to say pretty much exactly what I want to say about the vampire stuff. So I'm just going to not say that. I'm going to give you a note on dialogue and tone, because obviously I've said before that the tone is all over the place, whipsawing insanely, and that remains true. But you did actually do something interesting here, and you keep doing interesting things, like the entire farm sequence, the guy with the donuts. So that does keep happening. And one of your strengths as a writer is approaching that kind of heavy content really forthrightly and actually directly and sincerely. And that's really cool. And that, like, the dialogue in that boardroom scene, especially, like, really, Madison, that's what you came to say? Like, the top 3 placard lines on every climate protest, like, she's bringing nothing new to the table. There's not a threat. It's like, it's very first drafty. And this is a huge problem, because, like, 3/4 of this script is very first drafty. And there's a big difference between writing sincere dialogue and writing on the nose dialogue. And I feel like you have a very complicated concept that at this point makes no sense whatsoever, because you're not actually dealing with any of the fun stuff. Like, if this is Act 2, right? Like, where was the fun part when we break into Act 2? That hasn't happened yet. So, and now we're dealing with serious stuff. So, we're at a crisis point in the story. That could have been a breakup argument, and it wasn't. Cool. But that means the characters need to be talking to each other about their actual personal values and not just saying the most trite things about this movement, right? Like, if to borrow Preston's oversimplified and superficial interpretation, eco-terrorists, if our eco-terrorists are the ones saying we don't kill people, Uli being like, oh, I've killed so many people, but I'm bored of it in his head, like, that's not flying, right? When he says, oh, I don't kill people, because, as John's going to say, vampires sometimes eat people.
They do.
Likewise, him wanting for there to be people for him to eat forever is a perfectly acceptable motivation. I really wish he'd say it aloud to anybody so they could be real sus about it. But none of that's happening. He's like, oh, you don't kill people? But look, I didn't kill all those people, even though those people almost died. And luckily, we avoided getting caught by the police because I brainwashed everybody because we never thought through our plan. Like,
Except the Hess.
Yeah.
who we didn't, and he was an asshole, and you didn't even give us the payoff of seeing his comeuppance at all. So, like, and then you told us what was happening with this scribe guy. There were like the 3 or 4 pages in.
Yeah.
Right. In
There's
lieu
a
of
paragraph.
actually
It was expositional VO.
Yeah, which is fine, but you're on page 50. What do you need expositional VO for? You just showed us something. If what you showed us isn't doing enough to express your plot, consider rewriting it so that what you do give us does express your plot. So yeah, be more sincere, be less on the nose, add details like the part about Madison, Haley, whichever one it was who Ulysses was smacking down about the pro-life thing. I don't know if that was a flashback I didn't see because I don't remember that from being brought up ever before.
I don't think abortion pro-life came up at all in this story prior.
No.
So somehow they've been having these really cool heart-to-heart conversations, developing a relationship off screen. Cool. It would be nice to see it on screen.
Yeah.
But like that was like a detail that tells us something about one of the characters. Every line of dialogue should do something like that. And you're at your best when you are doing that. And you do that sometimes in this script in ways I very, 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 very like. So please do more to bring your cast of characters together as characters instead of as incredibly superficial activist stereotypes.
John.
All right, John, time for you to talk about vampires.
Yes, because if I could paraphrase the great Ian Malcolm, when are we getting our vampires in our vampire movie? So, okay. I when Danny was talking, I thought of something that I think might work, and I don't think you're going to like it. But I think you need to make Uli the bad guy.
Yes.
I think after the boardroom scene, Uli needs to go back and he needs to bite the neck of the Hess and drain him and remove him from the board in that way. I think Uli needs to think of this because I think this is what you're trying to do, but it's not working. And I think this might fix it. I think what you're trying to do is that Uli wants the humans to flourish because he needs them as a food source. The problem is that sometimes farmers have diseased and bad cows and they need to cull the herd. And sometimes people need to be culled. And I think what would make a really, really strong, and you could still keep it funny and quirky, but I think what would make a really, really strong subtext is if you have Uli join the eco-terrorists, have him follow them around, protect them, whatever, and then when the eco-terrorists find a bad guy, Uli goes in and culls the herd. Then, so rather than him being all, oh, I don't kill, you can have them being, I don't kill, and him being, well, sometimes you got to cull the herd. And then what you can do is you use that and you build that up over your Act 2 so that when you get to your Act 3, then you have your moment where, holy shit, Uli is actually maybe they don't even know he's a vampire yet. They just think he's a massive serial killer. And then, like they go to the cops and then Uli just goes all vampire on their asses in the end. And he just starts biting the heads off of fools everywhere until somebody basically has to stake it. I think if you do that, I think you'll have a much stronger story. But I don't feel like toward the end of Act 2, that's the story that we're getting. And
Okay,
I
well, the
feel like that
question
would be a
becomes,
stronger story.
John, if he did that, who would be the one that drives the stake into his heart?
Well, Madison would be our main hero character, so it would probably
Okay,
be
all
her.
right. Well, yeah, if you want to do that, then I need to see Madison in Act 1, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Mhm. Right.
Yeah.
That's where that's the
courtroom
problem.
scene.
The problem with that is
Yeah.
that is not the story that we've been presented thus far. We're
Right.
60 pages in. That's not the story we're getting. But I feel like that would be a stronger story, is if Uli is the bad guy, and if he is somehow connecting with them to find people that are hurting human flourishing, and his goal, kind of like, the whole I robot and that kind of concept where, like the AI gets so smart and AI thinks, oh, these bad people are bad. Like, my job is to protect humans, the 3 laws of robotics. You are not in line with these 3 laws, ergo you must be removed. So now the AI is removing people because it's hurting human flourishing. And I feel like you could kind of do the same thing with the vampire, make that more interesting. And I think you could still have it be fun and quirky, but I don't know, that just came to me when Danny was talking, because I feel like that would be a more interesting story than what you're giving us. What you're giving us now, it's kind of like this political message movie, with a couple. Now all of a sudden we're adding in new political messaging into this that we haven't discussed at all. So that was a little off-putting. You've got conflict between these 2 characters, but I don't know. It's like I don't feel like I don't really know who's the villain, because so far we've only been introduced to our eco-terrorists, who are poster children. I mean, not even the term. They're like reading posters, like Danny said. They've got bargain bin slogans that they're quoting. They're absolutely idiots in going half-brained into the boardroom scene. You've got Uli, who's a vampire who's not doing vampire stuff. And I don't know. It's yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is you're trying to do with this movie. And I feel like at this point we're nearing the end of Act 2. And I really feel like we should know what the hell is going on and have some kind of expectation for the last 30 minutes. And really, I'm just kind of like, huh? And now we're back to these ICE agents who I don't even remember.
We've met them before.
Yeah, they were earlier in a scene somewhere or something.
They were like in the first couple pages.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, they are now. I changed that because of actually from the feed from the notes.
Well,
I put them
all
earlier.
I'm saying is at this point, I don't remember who they are. And to all of a sudden bring them back now, and if they're supposed to be our big villains, then I'm just like, why? You're basically introducing villains in the 3rd act, and that just doesn't work. It kind of.
I thought the B plot was whatever's in the crate that Ulysses is protecting.
I didn't even remember a crate. He
That
lived in a
was from,
crate.
the first few pages.
No, that was a container.
With a casket.
Yeah.
Container with a casket.
Yeah.
That's a shipping container that he's living in.
Yeah, sorry. I thought that was the B plot. Are ICE agents the B plot? I mean, now you're dealing with like farm subsidies and eco-terrorism and abortion and like immigration control. Those are the 4 small topics you're addressing in this film.
Yes. I mean, one of those topics could handle a 2-hour movie
easily.
And you're like cramming all of these into one, and I feel like you're not. I don't know what it is that's. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't know what it is you're trying to do here, and I feel like at this point we should know that. So,
to me, the problem is not that there are a lot of different topics that these characters might be tackling. It's that we need a central ongoing conflict regarding some sort of moral or philosophical, perspective.
I agree, Erwin. We do need that. Yes, I concur.
Yeah, and if you watch the Daredevil series, to bring Daredevil back, this current season on Disney, the whole whatever it is, 8 or 10 episodes is carried largely and unified largely by Matt Murdock, Daredevil's ongoing emotional and intellectual, moralistic struggle between, valuing every single stupid human life and his desire to wreak revenge on some of these bastards that killed Foggy Nelson. And every episode is like wrought with that struggle, and it's not even expressed in the dialogue most of the time, but you can feel it. What's going on inside Matt Murdock's head, and that's powerful. That was powerful for me. I really like the series.
It was very good. Yeah.
It's very good. Yeah.
Diane, you got anything?
Actually, I have to say that I'm going to agree with John Lamont on this because it is totally all over the place. Now I'm thinking back to like the flashbacks in the Roman era and all this.
Oh yeah, were they killing Jesus?
Yeah. Like all this stuff that was going on. I'm going like, wait, then why was all that there to give backstory to him?
It gives backstory to the eco-terrorists. They're the people Jesus died to save.
And so I'm kind of going back to remembering like what was written before, and I'm just kind of going like, well, I remember like this entire aspect of him in the past having all these kind of issues with like morality and everything, and now we have this, and I'm just going, as much as I like this conflicted dialogue between him, Uli, and Madison, it kind of comes basically out of nowhere. And I know that they're trying to be get these boardroom people trying to stop climate change and all this.
Nameless boardroom people, I would point out.
Yeah, but the thing is this, that I agree that I don't really know why they're attacking these people. What are you going to do with them once you find them? Are you going to give them a moral, like you're going to lecture them? Like what was Madison's goal here? You're going to say like you got to stop this or people are going to die.
Yeah, that is the question. Like if Uli doesn't like,
that was her goal. She's successful. Movie's over. The end.
Right. Yeah. If Uli doesn't do his magic, what was Madison's plan?
What was Madison's plan if you weren't a vampire?
Yeah. Exactly.
What's their plan? Because really, the thing is that you could actually have Madison go like, you know what we could do? We could use your powers of hypnotism to hypnotize these guys and make them not, pollute the earth and all this stuff.
But instead, she's reacting in hindsight, going, "You shouldn't have done that."
Yeah, you shouldn't have done that. Because like, why?
What was your plan, homegirl?
What was your plan? If I wasn't around, what would you have done?
Yeah.
Were you gonna just get up on a soapbox and just lecture them?
Exactly.
Were you gonna like
hold up a sign or something?
Or hold up a sign? Were you gonna like just basically like? You were going to threaten them but not kill them? What's that going to do?
Right.
So, and then you end up getting killed and arrested, possibly even executed. And then like, where are you at? Nowhere. These people are still making all this stuff. Yeah. So the thing is like, maybe your plan was actually to hypnotize them and make them stop like this pollution and the nuclear disaster or whatever they were going to do. And maybe that was your plan. It's like, yeah, we're going to do this. We're not going to kill them, but we're actually going to like change everything by changing their brain, like basically mind rape them, which is kind of terrible. Yeah, honestly, if you think about it.
And Madison is rightly objecting,
and she's going like rightly rejecting on killing them, but mind rape is okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So mind rape's okay. Yeah. And like he won't remember his family or anything.
Dominate's pretty cool.
Dominate, that's right.
Dominate's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's the name of the
Diane, how else will we convince the entire board of directors to do the right thing?
Preston's been introducing me to Vampire the Masquerade
Yeah.
and
Yay.
Secret of the Embrace.
Yeah.
And so there was like this thing called, he's like, dominate is like one of the powers of the vampires,
Yeah.
where they hypnotize them and they can make them do what they will
Yeah.
and kind of like enthrall them,
Yeah.
basically. So
Out of all the vampire powers, like, you know, it's something they can move fast and some they're real strong and some whatever. Just wiping people's minds is pretty fucking cool.
It's pretty cool. And so if Madison wanted to use this vampire and say, like, I want you to dominate them and make them good.
Mhm.
And it's like, but then again, what's the moral compass of that? And
Right.
then you have him going like, I could just kill them.
Yeah.
I could just feed them. But then again, who's going to replace them? Who's going to change everything? So, and
Oh, that's a plot point. What if we name the board members and go back and see if they actually did change anything?
yeah,
Yeah.
Police them. That's a movie,
that's a movie. And then like,
right? This like
yeah.
ongoing blackmail thing.
there's
with a
also another
mental
thing,
element
because-
in a vampire. That would be cool.
yeah. Also another thing, because he can do dominate, that stays with them,
Yeah.
doesn't it? Like the
I mean,
hypnotism.
we don't need to refer to a role.
Well, I understand that, but
okay.
that generally, if you do the hypnotism and you dominate them, you have them for at least.
I mean, yeah, typically in
some time.
vampire lore, it's very rare that you see someone resist Dracula's like eyes on dominate. You know?
Eyes on dominate, but not
I mean,
only
like
that,
going back to
that
the
or turn him
original
into-
novel.
or turn him
it's-
into a ghoul.
Yeah,
turns into a ghoul.
going back to the original Dracula novel, like Dracula has his eyes on who's
Ren-
the lady?
Mina.
Lucy.
Yeah, no, the other
No,
lady.
Mina. Mina.
Lucy. Yeah, no, he has his eyes on Lucy,
You
right?
mean Mina?
No, he has his eyes on Mina, but he goes
Mina.
after
Okay,
Lucy
well,
first.
But he's
Lucy was the loose one,
right, but
so she was
Loose
easier to
one?
take
yeah,
over.
but
Mina-
Dracula visits Lucy over a series of times, and Mina's interacting with Lucy, and he kind of sees her mind going, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
going
Lucy,
back to
there
the
is-
original
Lucy was the
source,
first. Yeah.
it takes a bit of interaction,
Yeah.
you know.
And then there
but,
was like
yeah.
Jonathan as well, and he
Yeah.
was also fed on and manipulated as well. And then we also have Renfield,
Right.
who went off the deep end on all
So,
that by becoming
It's
a ghoul.
pretty rare. I mean, I guess we would say Jonathan Harker was dominated and eventually resisted. There you go.
and somehow resisted
Yeah.
because he escaped.
Yes.
Yeah, he did escape eventually.
But he did succumb for a time, and then as Dracula
Yeah,
left,
he did.
and he escaped.
But he was
came
under.
back to
He
his
was in
mom.
prison. Well, depending on which version, he was in prison by the wives
Yeah. Okay.
and all this other stuff. But the thing is that, yeah, I mean, like, I'm trying to figure out, like, if you took Uli out of the equation, what the fuck are they supposed to do?
Yes.
So, and it's like, were they like, usually when you're a terrorist, you're causing terror.
Yes.
You know, you want to threaten them. You want to threaten to blow up the property. Are you trying to threaten the boardroom members by threatening the families? We will kill you unless you do this. Blah blah blah. Hold them ransom.
Blackmail.
Blackmail. Make demands. Get dirt on them. You know, like, I'm going to reveal all this stuff that you have done. Or are they doing some type of documentary? Because that's what it kind of sounded like in the beginning. They were doing some type of documentary where they were going to.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, to expose them to the world. And then, like, Uli comes in, it's like, hey, I got an idea. So guess what? So but that's kind of what's kind of going on. I kind of want, the thing is that you are in so many different places and so many different subplots. You need to really focus on one. So you really need to focus on that one, or at least whatever Madison's plot is and whatever Uli's, and have them combined. So have them combined.
Their goals, what they want,
Yeah.
they're in this story. Their entire reason for existence is what is driving your plot. And that is where I feel like that's why my suggestion was, if you make Uli the bad guy, then you can have these two characters' goals and desires start out as aligning and then slowly coming apart to the inevitable conclusion that would come out. And that's the thing. It's like, we don't really know because Madison doesn't have a character. She is a climate change placard. That's all she is.
I also will also say that I really, you really don't need the rest of those characters, her little like minions that follow her around, because they don't do anything.
They don't. No.
They don't
That
do
is
anything.
true.
Yeah.
That is just like, dude, you should have this as just Uli and Madison.
Okay.
Uli and Madison, maybe a guy who is the cameraman. Maybe.
There you go.
Maybe the guy who's
So,
helping them and he
I'm
died.
gonna add something if that's all
Yeah.
right. And this is, I know, at the risk of like we're already running super late. We're
Yeah.
clearly staring at probably Draco's script.
Draco, yes.
But
Yeah.
a question for Robert, and you don't have to answer now, but you should think about it. One of the things I like really quite a lot about the newest edition of Vampire the Masquerade is that it forces you, when you're building a character, to ask the question, what kind of parasite is this vampire?
Yeah.
Are they a killer? Are they a sickness? Are they, just a malaise? Are they a madness? What misery do they cause to everyone around them? How do they feed? Like, what sort of, they are feeding on people. They're reanimated corpses, which is generally not a good thing. All of this stuff. So that's actually a worthwhile question to consider asking about Uli. What kind of parasite is he?
See, and I thought
does it
that
fall into his
I thought the
goal?
same thing from the beginning.
Sorry?
I thought the same thing from the beginning when we first started reading it. See, I thought the plot was for him when he started with Jesus and everything like that. I figured he was going to be on the run centuries later from like a secret government agency trying to track him down and stuff like that, to kind of use him for like genetic experiments and
Sure.
stuff like that.
But
And it
yeah,
kind of went a 360 the first couple pages in, where he kind of just jumped
certainly
from
went more
the
than
farm
360.
girl, she's in
The plot is
prison.
just here. But yeah, so like if you're gonna do a vampire thing, like what
vampire
kind
thing.
of parasite is your vampire is a worthwhile question to ask, because it's not necessarily what your vampire can do, it's what trouble your vampire causes. It might help you at least focus how Uli fits into all of this stuff.
So
Anyway,
when you're talking about parasites, you're talking about more of like the one that came
well,
out
I
a
was
couple years
hoping we'd
back.
be done talking
Screen.
about Robert's thing, because he'd be sitting there with a blank look on his face, so we've all been like
Okay,
going
so
on about
in
stuff. And I feel
Vampire
really
the
bad for
okay.
him.
Don't
but
feel
also,
bad.
Vampire the
like,
Masquerade, they
I
actually
do take it all in. So
no, I did want to give you like a question that can drive towards a direction, at least for that aspect of your story.
Yeah. I'm not recommending that you necessarily, but you just use it as a basis.
You should buy the rule book and make the character.
But the thing is that the Vampire the Masquerade, it tells
the
you like
vampire rule book.
the hunting
I'm
method.
writing it.
Yeah.
that they talk about like the hunting methods of like the vampires.
Yeah.
And one was like, what was the one? Was the shadow, the lurker? Okay, so one of them was basically like kind of like they lurk in the shadows and they kind of sneak attack.
Sure.
And they gave an example, I believe, at one point when one particular role player talked about it, where you had 3 skateboarders going down an alley.
Yeah.
The 2 skateboarders come out, and then one skateboard without a person on it rolls out.
Yeah.
And that's how the vampire got them.
Yeah.
Like they just came into the shadows and it was gone.
Yeah.
They were just abductors, and that was that type of vampire. And then there's what is the method of how they kill?
Well,
but at
yes, as I mentioned, I'm not sure why Uli is so on board with Pan, but yes.
But again, this goes back to
He could be. Maybe he like goes to nursing homes and kills people who are about to die.
Could
But
be.
like, whatever
that
it
is
is.
another, those are ones that are like the sleepers,
Yeah.
which were the ones who like apparently it was very bad if you it's okay for them to attack people in their sleep and let them kind of like die semi-naturally.
Yeah.
It was kind of like that. It was kind of considered humane
Okay.
rather
sure.
than
Yeah.
which I think is actually kind of atrocious.
Okay, fair enough.
But one of the things is like they recommend not killing children,
Yeah.
and some of them have a great moral compass and they don't want to kill humans, they'll kill animals.
There you go.
The farmers.
All right.
There's ones like that. So yeah. So
Anyways, yeah, there's a there.
All right. Badges and bloodlines. Draco, tell me about the story.
No, this is issue 1, page 1. He shouldn't have to tell us shit.
All right. Who's narrating? Dan.
I'll narrate because I don't think I've
John.
narrated anything today.
Go ahead.
Issue 1, Badges and Bloodline, page 1, splash page. Panel 1, full page splash, which I thought we just said, wide shot. Then full page splashes are not wide, they are landscape or portrait mode. Visual, a vast, desolate stretch of Texas desert under a harsh, unforgiving sun. The ground is dry, cracked earth. In the foreground, scattered, dusty personal effects. A child's worn shoe, a broken rosary, a small overturned water bottle. In the midground, the distant simmering heat haze distorts the view of what looks like a few overturned, bullet-ridden vehicles. The sky is a brutal pale blue. Caption
I wonder what
overhead.
looks like a few overturned bullet-riddled vehicles that isn't that.
Yeah, it is
Caption overhead. The desert never forgets. It just buries. Caption Texas-Mexico border dawn. Page 2, 4 panels. Panel 1, 3 border patrol vehicles, dust trailing, approaching the scene from the distance. 2 figures, smaller in frame, are already on foot, moving cautiously. Sound effects rumble. Panel 2, closer on the scene. 2 border patrol agents in uniform, their faces grim, surveying the aftermath. 1 points off panel.
Bubble.
Holy
Holy
hell.
hell. Looks like a massacre.
Why is it saying they're in a bubble? Isn't that kind of what
No, he's
comics
just saying
do?
a
bubble.
thought bubble.
Right, but isn't all dialogue in bubbles?
All dialogue is in a bubble, yes.
This is a
Right.
thought
The
bubble.
technical term is balloon, thank you.
Yeah.
Panel 3, a discarded cheap flip phone. Its screen cracked, lying on the dusty ground. And it wasn't a Nokia.
No.
A faint, static-filled image of a child's face is barely visible on the screen. Have you seen a cheap flip phone? Their screens... Oh, maybe it's a newer... Okay, never mind.
Could be.
Sound effects crackle. Panel 4, the 2 agents, one kneeling, examining the scene. They both look shaken.
Migrants, kids, some of them.
Page 3, 4 panels. Panel 1, overhead shot. The scene from above. Several bodies are visible, stark against the sand. They are sprawled in unnatural angles. One is a child partially obscured by a tattered blanket. Bullet casings litter the ground about them. No caption, no witnesses, no mercy. Panel 2, a spent shell casing glistening in the sun, half buried in the sand. Its unique marking, subtle but distinct, catches the light. What's unique about it? Panel 3, Agent 1 holds up the bullet casing, examining it closely with a grim expression.
Bubble. These aren't standard issue.
Panel 4, close-up faces. The 2 agents exchange a silent, knowing look, fear and resignation in their eyes. Caption, a signature they'd seen before. I would like to know what the signature is. Page 4, panel 1, the exterior of a modern, sterile federal courthouse building in a relatively small, dusty Texas town. The architecture is out of place, imposing. A federal sedan pulls up. Caption, 3 days later, the U.S. Attorney's Office, Presidio, Texas.
Presidio, yeah.
Panel 2, Elena Cruz, sharp in a tailored suit, steps out of the car. Oh, yeah, she does. Her expression is focused, determined. She carries a sleek briefcase. Her dark hair is pulled back tightly.
Why don't you be Ada?
Ida?
Ida.
Ida or Ada?
Whatever.
So why is it
Why is her
Elena
name
or Ada?
here and Elena elsewhere?
Oh, no, that's ADA, Assistant District Attorney.
Oh, all
That's
right.
not-
If it were
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
it would have periods for the abbreviations.
Right, so either do it right or don't do it at all.
Okay.
Sorry, it's just...
Steve Cruz. There you
Okay,
go.
That's
another
right.
border town, another sinkhole of corruption.
Panel 3, Cruz walks into the courthouse lobby. It's relatively empty, feeling cold and unwelcoming. A bored-looking security guard glances at her.
But this time, I'm not just observing.
Panel 4, close-up face. Cruz's face. Resolute, her eyes are sharp, intelligent, and a touch weary.
This time, we're cutting deep.
Page 5, panel 1. Cruz standing in a sparsely furnished federal office, looking at a pinboard covered with photos and documents. There are pictures of local officials, a blurred shot of a large ranch, and a few mugshots.
Sheriff's office, judge, mayor.
Panel 2, close-up document, a printout of a financial report showing suspicious transactions and shell companies. Key names are highlighted. Caption, Operation Clean Sweep. Panel 3, Cruz's federal colleague, a tired-looking FBI agent. Agent Diaz enters the office holding a file.
You sure you want to open this can of worms, Cruz? It runs deeper than you think.
Panel 4, close-up Cruz's hand. Cruz picks up a small frame photo from her desk. A younger, smiling woman, perhaps a sister or a friend with Cruz.
Where am I? Okay, someone has to.
How the fuck? Hold on.
What are these bubbles?
Bubble, quiet but firm.
What does that mean?
How the fuck am I supposed to draw that?
So it's supposed to be like the actual bubble for the words go, and then
what? I make it a different shape. Like,
yeah.
I use different fonts.
So usually when they do quiet,
Direct
they
your
do like
artist.
dotted
Do this.
lines, like
Okay.
dashed lines, and the dial and the they sound like a whisper. So therefore, they make the text like really really tiny to make it seem like they're whispering. But I don't know what firm means. Like the tone is firm, then
No, I think the lettering's supposed to be a little bit more bold.
Oh, so I'll
Right.
find a new font that's
Small
like
but bold.
slightly less angled for that, and then probably a new bubble format. And she's not even talking to someone, is she? Like, is she gonna have a different?
Thought bubbles.
She's had
Are
4
these-
different dialogue styles in one page.
Who's she talking to? It's all thought bubbles, right?
No, she's talking to the other agent in the scene.
Diaz.
Anyways, yeah, dude, just write down the dialogue. This is not the first time we've given you this note.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know.
Page.
It's like
You're doing too many people's jobs. Stop it.
yeah, you're
Let
all
people
correct.
do-
You're all
You know
trust-
what
correct.
you do, Draco?
trust
You can
your
grab, like,
team.
a couple grand, produce a comic, and then find out what goes horribly wrong, and then learn how to write better.
Like, or just stop doing other people's jobs and trust your team.
Don't
You
don't-
hire your team to do a job. Trust them to do their job.
also-
Page 6, panel 1, a dusty, battered Ford F-150 with Texas Ranger plates parked out. Do Texas Rangers have their own plates?
They
Parked
do.
outside a. Oh, okay.
And I
Okay.
say that with great regret.
Okay. All right. Oh, okay. With
And they
Texas Ranger
set them
plates
stuff,
parked
by the way.
outside.
Very Texas
I don't
in
even
their
like
part.
baseball.
Oh, you know what? I think. Yeah. You know what? I think Florida State
No,
Police
wait,
Highway
wait,
Patrol
wait,
have
wait,
their own.
they're talking
too.
about
When we
the-
say
the
Texas
police.
Ranger,
We're talking
we
about
mean the
base-
Dallas baseball
team.
team, not the law enforcement organization, the Texas Rangers.
I mean, that would also be hilarious.
right.
But it might be
Just a baseball
important to
team.
tell your
Stop.
artist this because he might give you police plates when you want baseball plates.
Yeah.
Or
I
the other
assumed
way
it was
around.
baseball plates. It's
I was
not-
thinking
Police
Texas
plates,
Rangers.
I want it to be baseball plates.
yeah.
I don't.
Texas, it,
I'm not from Texas. I don't know a damn thing about Texas or Texas sports. When I see Texas Ranger, I'm thinking Walker. You know,
Yeah.
Chuck Norris
Yes.
roundhouse
Law
kicking a
Maybe these
dude.
enforcement.
plates have
Law
a picture of
enforcement.
Chuck Norris on them.
And state law enforcement do have their own
Their
plates
own.
because
Yeah.
yes, I have seen Florida Highway Patrol has their own as well. So with Texas Ranger plates parked outside a desolate, rundown cantina, the sun beats down mercilessly. Caption: Meanwhile, deep in the heart of nowhere. See, and he
The
is a
heart of
freaking ranger. See, it says right there. Cole. Panel
What is
2,
it?
Ranger Cole Navarro, the
he
Indian
could be
guy who
batting
was ever
third.
Indian as Indian could be. A rugged man with a 5 o'clock shadow and a world-weary gaze. You didn't even mention. Oh, I guess his name tells us he's Indian. I'm sorry, Native American. Sits
Navarro?
alone.
Indigenous. It's indigenous, bitch.
Thank you.
Indigenous.
Man, I'm
Jesus.
even behind on my own term. And yeah, yes, the most indigenous Texas Ranger to ever indigenous. Ranger Cole Navarro, a rugged man with a 5 o'clock shadow and a world-weary gaze and long flowing hair down past his shoulders, sits alone at a table, nursing a beer. His ranger badge is visible on his belt.
Not regulation. But okay.
Do they give badges to baseball players? I'm still believing he's a baseball player. Fine. Another one, Ranger. Why is the bartender off panel?
I don't know.
In
How can
the
you tell
scene
they're a
in which he's
bartender?
introduced,
How can you tell they're a bartender?
Who's Navarro?
literally no one can tell they're a bartender because you
All right.
can't see this man.
Not yet. There we go.
Panel 3, Navarro's hands. His hands are scarred, calloused. He slowly turns a tarnished silver concho belt buckle in his fingers. Panel 4, overhead shot. Navarro looking out the window, his gaze fixed on the empty, shimmering road, a sense of deep disillusionment.
When do we get to see the bartender?
How do you see a sense of deep disillusionment?
Someone has to draw that. Maybe they just write a sense of deep disillusionment. Maybe I'll
Justice,
just letter it.
justice ain't found in a book out here. It's carved in the dust.
Page 7, panel 1, flashback, sepia tone mid-shot. A younger, cleaner cut Navarro in uniform, laughing with a group of fellow rangers. They look optimistic, idyllic. Caption, sepia. Wait, sepia on sepia? That's not going to work. Years
Sepia.
ago, before the rot set in. Okay, now with all this talk about rot, I want zombies. Panel 2, flashback, sepia tone. A child's drawing taped to a refrigerator with "Best Dad" scrawled on it. Navarro's hand reaches for it. Panel 3, flashback, sepia tone. A small, humble border town being ravaged by fire and chaos. Figures run, obscured by smoke. Navarro stands in the foreground, his face a mixture of shock and horror. Caption, sepia. The night everything
He's
changed.
so illegible.
Panel 4. Okay, so as somebody who did sepia tone in a comic to do flashbacks, all I
Yes.
did was I labeled the panels, panel 1, flashback. I told my colorist once, I said, if you see flashback, it's sepia tone. And that's it. I didn't have to tell him every single time.
Yeah.
He just knew what to
Okay.
do. He saw flashback because I told him that. This is what I want you to do for that. And that was it. And that
Okay.
comic went to flashback in several times. Panel 4, present. Back to current colors. Navarro's eyes, haunted and distant. The memory clearly still pains him.
We still haven't met the bartender.
And I feel like
Bartender
panel
out of line
4
two
is the
pages
same
ago,
as
and he's
panel
yet to be
1.
on panel.
They say the law protects. Out here, it just slows you down.
They don't say that. The Supreme Court just ruled again that law enforcement has no right to protect people. Page 8,
Obligation,
panel
right?
Page 8, panel 1. Sheriff.
Okay, but it says it on their cars.
Yeah,
Sir,
well, it's a lie.
It doesn't say who.
It is a lie.
I always
doesn't
looked
say
at that
who.
slogan and thought that's a lie, but
It's to serve and protect. Who?
Yeah.
Doesn't say who.
it doesn't. Yeah.
Themselves and their union.
Yeah, pretty much
Page 8,
themselves.
page 8, panel 1. Sheriff's office building, old, weathered, a broken sign, a few beat-up patrol cars outside. Panel 2, Cruz, standing rigidly, faces a corpulent, greasy sheriff. His face is cluttered, dusty. He leans back, feet on his desk, a smirk on his face.
Well, well, Federal. What brings you to our humble little slice of heaven?
Panel 3, Navarro walks in unannounced, hands in pockets. His presence instantly changes the room's dynamic. The sheriff's smirk falters. Creak, door creak. Panel 4, Cruz looks at Navarro, surprised. Navarro looks at the sheriff. So how does she look at two people? Oh no, Cruz looking
It's
at
a
Navarro.
close-up
Navarro looks at the
three
sheriff.
shot.
A silent warning in his eyes. The sheriff looks uncomfortable. So this is the Spider-Man, all three pointing at each other.
Yeah, except it's a close-up.
Right. Because you could totally do a close-up of three people in one
I mean,
shot.
you
Texas
can
Ranger,
do a close-up with
great.
three people. Whether you should or not is a different question.
Page 9, panel 1. Cruz addresses both men, her voice clear and precise.
I'm here to investigate the recent border incident and allegations of corruption in this office.
I mean,
She's
I
Panel 2.
love. How am I going to let her that?
Huh?
How am I going to let her a clear and precise voice?
I don't know.
Uh,
I guess just like regular.
Panel 2, Navarro leans against the doorframe, arms crossed, observing. He doesn't say anything, but his skepticism is palpable.
Paper pushers and their investigations. They never see the real dirt.
So it's
Panel-
not palpable. It's actually expressed through his internal monologue.
Yes.
Panel 3, the
I
sheriff
feel like
laughs.
he should maybe say that, but all right, fine. All right.
A sheriff laughs, a dismissive, mirthless sound.
How am I going to let her that?
Corruption? Little lady out here. That's just how business gets done.
Wait,
Oh,
hold up.
Great. Okay, now he's
Okay.
getting arrested because this is
All right,
2025.
Okay, yeah. There we go. Panel 4.
Cruz's hand clenches into a fist. She barely contains her anger.
not anymore.
There you go.
Page 10, panel 1. Outside, across the street from the sheriff's office, a tinted black SUV is parked. The windows reflect the harsh sun. Panel 2, from inside the SUV, we see Cruz and Navarro through the office window, partially obscured. They are being watched. Panel 3, a hand gloved, resting on a tactical shotgun that will never shoot across the street. So that's a bad way to do an assassination. Panel 4, Diego El Verdungo Herrera, grim-faced in the driver's seat. He holds a satellite phone to his ear.
The feds are here, and the ranger. Keep an eye on him.
All right,
Wait,
that's
why
10
is
pages.
El Dorero giving orders to somebody on the phone when he's the one there keeping an eye
John
on them?
Lamont, what did you like about it?
Okay, so visually, the parts that are drawable were very good.
Do you feel this is a marked improvement over prior work?
That's a leading question.
All right, I'll just say
Draco excels at the visuals when he's doing visuals that are visual.
Okay.
So the desert scene, describing the cars, the bullet case. I would have liked to have known what was on the bullet casing, but we'll get to that. Like the bullet casing, the bodies, like all of those things were done very, very well. They're described well. They're really, really visual, and it's really, really easy to see those scenes in your head. That is something that Draco you excel at. So yeah, good there. So yeah.
Danny.
All of the words were spelled properly.
Oh, Danny.
You could do better than that, Danny. Come on.
Some of the one-line captions were charming.
There you go. Erwin.
Okay.
I think you've got a pretty good sense of your story here. I think you've got a good sense of like the tone of this. I think you've got a good, really sort of strong sort of tone here. You know, and I think that a lot of this is going to be in the execution of what the art looks like and stuff like that, in regards to how well these punchy lines are going to come across. But you've got the lines, and so you know, I was kind of fading in and out, not because of the story or the work, but because I'm distracted here and stuff. But and I'm kind of sleepy, but it came through, you know, the feel of it, and I think that's really important. You know, for a comic books, for a comic book. You know, yeah, it kind of had that sort of like The Killing or something. You know, one of those sort of moody detective stories or something like that feel to it.
Robert.
Yeah, a lot of it's been said. I agree with the visuals. I think the visuals were strong. I could see it in my head. I could see it either as a panel or even if it were to be a movie where they were. Also, I think most of the characters were well described, again, visually as to what I would expect to see. And I feel I could, with a few minor changes, take some of those descriptions and hand it to a couple artists I know, and they would be able to, do it justice in the visualization. So that part's good. Some of the dialogue, it's kind of a mix here. Some of the dialogue I thought was strong, that they really told you a lot about the people, and then I'd have to go to constructive to get the other side of that.
Dan, what'd you think?
I think everybody said everything.
Well,
So-
I'll say they haven't said this is way better than prior efforts, and I appreciate it, Draco. I see your improvement, and I'm gonna say it.
Yeah, there is definite improvement.
Yeah, I
There's
mean,
definite
one thing,
improvement.
like it's a long process, like like the cut twos and the stuff. It's all a symptom of the same thing, which is you don't have to tell me it's cool. Just write a cool thing.
Yeah,
Right? Yeah.
yeah.
And we're starting to get there to writing a cool thing.
And if the
And
tension is palatable, I should be able to
yeah,
feel that.
yeah. I don't need you to tell me the tension
Yeah,
is
that-
powerful.
no,
I
no,
can just read it.
I
right?
should be able to read
Hey,
it.
don't start. These are parts of my constructives.
Well, wait a minute. That's part of mine. That was part of mine.
Fine.
Because that particular line is sticks out for that reason. So,
well, I'm going to be real specific about why it sticks out.
All right.
you go
Draco,
for it.
this is a comic, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So the only
Yeah.
thing that's palpable is the physical comic your reader is holding. The only thing that is audible is the physical comic your reader is holding. Yes?
Okay.
Which means you can't draw that and you can't force the reader to feel the tension because all you can force the reader to feel is the quality of the paper they are holding.
That's palpable.
Okay.
That is what is
Yeah.
palpable in your book. It is, in fact, the only thing that is palpable in your book. Likewise, you can't draw a smell and you can't draw a sound. So,
Yeah.
please
But
stop.
you can draw people's reaction to a smell. Right?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can. But you can't draw the smell itself.
Right.
Similarly, you can't draw something being almost something else.
Yes.
Okay. So next time you write
No.
anything, remove every instance of the following words: almost, nearly, slight, and is.
Okay. And I think that's like
That's
one of
seriously.
like my major
You
issues.
know what
when
almost
it
looks
comes
like a
to
bunch of shot up
writing.
cars? A bush. Or a sandcastle that someone shot up. Or a bunch of shot up cars.
Yeah.
Or a funny cloud. You know what actually looks like a bunch of shot up cars? A bunch of shot up cars.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you've been here for what? Easily 6 months. Pretty much every week we've been reading your stuff,
Yeah.
and yes, your writing has
Yeah.
improved.
Yeah.
But I have said these things more than 10 times. And I know it's like much harder when you're not here to like really follow along. And I know I'm really bitchy, super bitch faced about a lot of stuff. But stop doing things that are literally impossible. It's frustrating,
Literally.
and frankly, it's going to improve your writing, but also it's going to let us give you actual feedback on other things that
Mhm.
you may find you want to hear first.
Okay.
So if we spend all of our time talking about how you gave us an undrawable script with vexing dialogue instructions and no coherent, visualization of anything, then that doesn't tell you as much as like, okay, well, this didn't work for me for whatever reason. Now, with that said, my actual constructive is that you don't have any dialogue. You never have two people talking to each other.
Okay.
Stop.
In fact, I don't think you've more than
When it comes with like
I
the no
remember
dialogue,
when you've had two people talking to each other about anything was in a revision of one of your zombie scripts, the one in Seattle, and in the fan fiction you wrote. So that's 2 out of approximately 100 scripts you've submitted to us have had any dialogue in them whatsoever. If you have more than one person in a room, they should talk to each other. In fact, you could have more than one person say something on the same panel, or indeed in the same scene. So I highly recommend you try using this technique to actually give your story a story with characters.
okay.
John Lamont.
Okay, so I kind of hinted on this, and I'm going to say it since it's probably a critique other people won't make. Your characters are all very cliche. Every single one of them. You've got the badass hero cop, female cop. You've got your native indigenous cop in Texas. You've got your lazy fat white sheriff. And you've got your Hispanic gangbanger. I mean, 4 characters we're introduced to, and they're all, in my mind's eye, they're all cliche characters. And I know they're cliches for a reason because it's frickin' Southern Texas, and I know like a third of the people are white, a third are indigenous, and a third are Mexican or Hispanic. I get it. I lived in LA. It's the same frickin' way over there. Like you know, it's that is the makeup. I get that. But this, we're introduced to 4 people, and they're just all very, to me, they came off as very, very cliche, and I would just challenge you to mix it up a little bit. Maybe try something a little bit different. And it might be a little bit more interesting. I don't know. And then there was the one page, and I kind of commented on this when I was reading. So when Ranger Indigenous guy was in the bar, when he was looking out the window, and you said you were saying how he was feeling without telling us, and then in the later scene when we came back to that scene, you then did it correctly. And you described what he was thinking and what would be on his emotion, what emotion he was expressing. This is a comic. It's not a movie. So you don't have to give us the 2 panels of the exact same thing. You can actually do there's different artistic ways that you could do it. Namely, you could put literally like him in the center in color in the bar, looking out into space, and then do like clockwise bubbles around of the different scenes. You could do any number of things to basically show us that all of these events, he's going through them in his head. It's not a movie where we're going to start on him and then we cut to these flashbacks and then we return to him in the bar. This is a comic, different concept. And as I said, that final panel was correct. The first panel was undrawable. So that's something I think you could would help you with. And yeah, that last page with the guy in the car, that was just all over the place. And I get it. If he's a cartel, then obviously he's going to be, Hispanic Mexican gangbanger. I get that. As I said, I'm not telling you to, make an interracial Mexican cartel. I'm not saying that at all because that's just dumb in the opposite direction. I'm just so if the characters were more interesting and more unique and they stood out more, or they did something when we introduced them that makes them more unique, I think that would probably help them not feel like they are cliched.
Okay.
But again, your ADA, who, and again, that was very confused. That's why, and when I said pick one and then stick with it, because that was very confusing. Because you introduce her with one name, and then in the dialogue, she's Ada.
It was something else. Yeah.
I mean, like Ada is a name, so like I shouldn't have to do, abbreviation calculations in my head. And your artist is going to get confused because he's not going to know what the hell he's doing. Anyway, so my point was, the way you introduced her car, she stepped out, her pressed suit, like her badass attitude, like those were the types of things that were all very cliche in this very feminist movie cliche thing that Hollywood seems to do right now. It's getting a little tiresome, which is why a lot of these female action movies don't work, because it's not cool and novel anymore. And it's just everybody's doing. I mean, literally, I don't know if you saw in the Discord, I watched Havoc, and literally, like, some 120-pound chick is beating up Tom, what's his name?
Hardy.
Tom Hardy. Like, no, I'm sorry. 120-pound waif is not beating up Tom Hardy. I don't care. So, I mean, that movie was bad on a lot of, but that one was like very in the beginning, like she's kicking him around a room, and I'm just like, no, this is overdone. It's tired.
Did you appreciate how in Palace, whenever Thor is beating somebody up, she's really big?
Yes.
Yeah, it's good, right?
She's big, and she uses magic, and it gives. And then as soon as that goes away, the first guy she gets into a tussle with throws her on her ass.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like that, because again, I did the same thing with Harpies. My character has superpowers. She's gifted with superpowers from the gods. I mean, like, if you're going to do it, you got to do it. And anyway, my whole point is to say, my whole point is that the way she's introduced has that cliche feeling. So that's what immediately solved. And then, of course, we immediately jumped to, Ranger, Navarro, and everybody else just kind of all kind of fit into that. So yeah, I mean, maybe do less, unless it's her character and she's trying too hard. See, that would be a good character moment. Like, where did she come from? How long did it take her to drive to this scene out in nowhere? Like, is her makeup still good from when she left? Is her suit still pressed? Did she pull up and then do her makeup? And then, like, those are the kind of things that might make her feel more human.
Okay.
As I said, I'm just spitballing ideas here. But I'm just like, like I do comic conventions. Sometimes I have to drive. I'm driving to Atlanta, and it's a 6-hour drive. And I'm driving up day one of the show. I'm driving up the day before of the show because I'm not a crazy person. And I'm going to go to the show, and I'm going to be showered, and I'm going to be clean. And the last day of the show, I will be driving home after the show. But that's because I'm driving home. And then I will shower, and then I will go to bed. So, like, this is me after a 6-hour drive. And I'm just like, she's driving a 6-hour drive in the Texas heat. Preston could comment about driving in the Texas desert heat and how that works. And how your air conditioner may or may not survive.
And the dust.
So think about these kind of things. What condition is she going to be in, and how is she going to handle that? That makes it grounded. It makes it real world. And then we get to know her as a character, because how is she dealing with this?
Okay.
And then she doesn't come off like the badass who ever badassed, like a stereotype.
Erwin.
Okay.
I think that there's we don't get to learn much about the characters because it's 10 pages and you've got 4, like a lot of these pages have 4 panels on them. And you're introducing
That's okay. Don't do 6 or 9
Yeah.
or 10. Four is
I'm
good.
not saying you
Four
should
is
do
good.
6 panels. I'm just saying that there's not that much, that there has not been that much space to allow these characters to breathe life into themselves over the course of these 40 panels or whatnot. There's several different characters. So, you know, I think if you want us to latch on to one of these characters, give her or him a couple of pages here at the front. You know, for some reason, I kept thinking about the Wolverine, the first miniseries, where he just Wolverine is, and this is basically all I remember from the entire 4-issue series. Wolverine is just hunting a deer, you know, and he starts out saying, "I'm the best there. I'm the best there is at what I do," or something like that. And but what I do isn't pretty, and he just goes up and instead of
That
killing the
is
deer,
Wolverine. That is
what's that?
Wolverine. What you just said is Wolverine. That's the whole
Yeah,
point.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first few pages of the Wolverine miniseries, and instead of killing the deer, he sneaks up to the deer, and you know he says, you know, the best hunt is, you know, just being able to get close enough to touch it. And f- that's all I remember from the entire 4 issues series is that's Wolverine, right? Like what Robert just said. That is from everything that all the stories that I've ever read with Wolverine in it. Those are the 3 or 4 pages that I remember, you know. So yeah, touch us with a single character sort of passage, and yeah, I think you'll be good.
Okay.
Robert
What if your female
or John Lamont.
ADA shows up? She goes into the sheriff's office, then she goes to the bathroom for an hour, and then she comes out and does her scene. Now you got the sheriff complaining about her being in the bathroom for an hour.
Being in the bathroom too long. Yeah.
You know, like because
and
she looks like
that's only a couple
disheveled mess. She looks a disheveled mess when she gets out of the car. When she walks out of that bathroom, now she's got her makeup on, she's got her power suit on. Bam, she's ready to kick ass.
Oh, she could come in you know, like in short shorts and tennis shoes and a crop top, and then goes into the bathroom and makes the transition, you know, like a Superman in the phone booth.
Yeah, kind of something, because then it gives us character. It gives us character.
Well, then we see she's got dimension. You've just dimensionalized the character. And so, yeah, I'll go into some things that I thought were mentioned as we were going through it. You could do way too much direction in things that where you could have put in more of the character stuff. I think Danny mentioned that there was no dialogue. You got to have these people talk to each other. That's where the stuff comes out of who they are. There's the, you know, the thrust and parry of a relationship as they build one. He doesn't like her, she's suspicious of him, and they have to work together. You should be able to in 5 or 6 exchanges of dialogue, you know, really tell us who they are, what the tenor of their, you know, basic character is, and that kind of thing. And that's what I'd like to see. I think your visualization, you know, was strong enough to support that level of dialogue, where, you know, you really get, you know, have some kind of what I'm going to call character arc happening. There, I think in the 10 pages, I don't know if this was the point that Erwin was making, but I think you introduced too many people in too short of a period. I'd like to know more about the fewer people, certainly something I'm guilty of. And I think that you would benefit from that. It makes it cleaner and your character stronger. That's what I would see as the result of it. I'm not a comic expert, other than having read, you know, my ration of them over my lifetime, and watch them evolved and stuff. I mean, my favorite thing is graphic novels. Like Mouse is my favorite. It's so fucking powerful. You know, it's you know, that's where you would need to, you know, like when you look at something like that, they live. And I'd like to see your characters more alive rather than be the cliche that John, identified as the issue. And you're dependent on the cliche factors. They look like this, they dress like this, they say this. Now that's the other part. They don't really say anything. They think this stuff. That's why I kept screaming thought bubble. This isn't dialogue. So you've got to move from he says something. Most of the things that were said were really things that were for the illustrator in how the panel should be drawn, or how the characters should be drawn in the panel. I want to know what they're saying to each other. As I said, the thrust and parry, and everything else has been said, I think.
Yeah.
All right.
I think that's like one of my biggest struggles is comic book scripting. I cannot get the hang of it. I mean, I can write a freaking script like nobody else, but when it comes to like the comic book format and the placing and because I'm not making the movie, so I can't do 24
all right,
frames per
but Danny-
second. So
But Danny is correct. When you throw down a couple $1,000s and actually make your first comic, then you're gonna figure this out really, really quick.
Yeah, then you can like have a good fight with your artist about whether those lights are flickering or not.
Yeah, exactly.
And
With the special shell casing. What is a special shell casing?
Right. What is so special about this shell casing? He's just going to draw a regular shell
so-
casing.
Someone takes
you're-
the script
it's
and
funny
says,
though.
what does this mean? You go, oh yeah.
I mean, if you're lucky, they might just also just draw like a speed
so
shell.
for the showcasing, it was because they had the insignia of the cartel mark on it.
But you didn't
you
tell
didn't
us
say it.
that.
You didn't tell us
You
that.
had
Write
to
it
tell
down.
us that.
And I did. Well, I had it. So I had it when before I rewrote it.
You do realize you're not going to
So
be able to be
before I-
there with each book and
Okay.
explain this to the.
I don't
Yeah.
know that
Well, your
when I
artist
wrote my
can't
Bible
read your
course
mind.
in high
Your
school,
artist cannot read your
Yeah.
mind. So you need to tell him it has the insignia logo
It-
of the cartel on the casing. You need to
Yeah.
hire an artist to draw said logo, whether it's the same one or a different one. You will need to design. That's the thing about comics. This isn't a screenplay where you just throw it out there and say the cartel logo is on there and somebody in the art department is going to design this cartel logo. You're going to have to design it because this is a comic book. You're going to have to design it. Either your artist is, or you're going to have to pay a different artist to design it. And then you're going to give that design to the artist and you're going to tell the artist, this is the cartel logo. I want you to engrave this on the casing.
You know what Draco should do?
Spend a couple grand and actually make a
remember,
comic book.
Okay, remember the person who did La Vigilante had those like really, really like MS Paint mock-ups made?
Sure.
Yeah.
Draco should just spend $100, give that person find that artist, spend $100, give that person your script, and see what comes out. And if it's anything like what you described.
Yeah. That is the one thing that he did right with his little MS Paint comic book. It's a really good way to visualize the scenes and to get those thumbnails out.
Well, I thought he paid someone for that. Like, did he?
Oh, he
did
did.
On the final product.
He did. He paid somebody a couple $100 to do it.
Yeah.
It wasn't a lot of money, but I think he did. I think he said they charged him like $10 a page or something.
Yeah, $10 a page for that's line art, that's colors, that's dialogue. Someone else could draw your bubble balloons, and maybe make something and actually gain some real experience making something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you'll be a better writer for realizing how much you fail at communicating because nothing that you described or thought in your head actually happened.
Well, let me just put this positive spin on that good advice.
Or you'll discover that you're brilliant, and then you'll get.
That's okay, Draco. That's positive. That's a positive critique that Danny just gave. You just put it in a slightly negative way. But if you make it, you will learn. Not that you will find out all the mistakes that you make, because you know what? If you keep writing, you're going to be making shitloads of mistakes all the time, constantly.
We all make mistakes all the time. I brought in a script today that was missing words, was spelling shit wrong. Like, it happens constantly.
Yeah, but it took you a while to get there. And it's all a process. Now, the thing is that if you can't afford someone, do stick figures on a little tiny thing. It's just thumbnail it yourself. Like, okay, light's blinking. How do you do that? Well, here's a light bulb. Well, with little rays coming out. it's on, but is it blinking? No.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I always seem to do that though. Every time it comes to writing a comic book or a script or something, the comic book always has like motions and stuff like that. And Danny always says, "There's no motion. I can't draw it." And I'm
Okay.
like, I'm
picture.
getting better at it.
It's a photograph
I
on a
think this-
page, dude. Of course, it has no motion.
There is no motion unless you blur
picture
it,
motion. You can put
or if
streaks
it's a
or
motion
blurs.
comic, which is an animated cartoon.
You have to know what to say to the artist so that they can interpret what you're doing. And that's where the similarity between writing that I see a comic book a script and a movie script is there instruction sets to for other people to go accomplish something that's your idea. And the clearer you are able to express that, the better the results are going to be. Now, with the comics, again, I claim no expertise in it, but I, familiar with the process of describing what something needs to be done when it's completely created at several different levels, whether it's a photograph, whether it's an illustration, whether it's just simply how a printed page looks and the type font to use and things like that. Those are all your responsibility, to John's point, when you're doing the comic book. You're designing it. You don't have a team of other. If you're really strong and work for a large company or have a good team, you will have people who understand you and can interpret some of it. You're not there. I don't know that any of us are there at this stage, that we have a crew that we can depend on, that, if I say blink, they know what it means. You need to describe it. Your descriptions are illustrative. I see it when you write what your stuff is, but it's a fucking mess in the form that you've presented it in, and it gets confusing. Just to be perfectly
that was
blunt.
like my point, was that the scenes that you do well are good. The problem is some of the scenes the scenes that work are good. The scenes that don't work just are not drawable.
I'm making a slightly different point. They're blurred. It's like the description is there, but there's parts of it that fall apart because in one of I'd have to go back and look at the script, but there's one panel he's describing and it doesn't quite make sense. But then there's a line of dialogue that fills it out and I know what it means. That belongs in the description. That's what I mean by messy.
Right. Yes. Yeah. He does that a lot too. Yeah.
I will say this, Robert, actually writing art direction for comics is harder.
Okay.
Which is interesting. Because what you can't do is say they walk and here's the dialogue. You have to direct every single panel of that. Yeah. Every single letter of that goes into every single panel of that. What's in the background of that? All of that stuff. So like if you can do that pretty well with comics, like it actually does really make you a better screenwriter in a lot of ways.
The Hitchcock method, he shot his movies directly against a storyboard and they matched. Frankly, Spielberg does the same thing.
So. Well, I mean, lots of big productions like shoot to storyboards. Storyboards.
For that matter, James Cameron.
Oh yeah,
he draws everything.
Yeah, so like these are some very successful movie makers.
Yeah.
We were just watching
Making Titanic.
And we were just today we were watching George Miller's the Fury Road.
Yeah. There's extensive use of storyboards.
Extensive use, like everything was storyboard.
Yeah.
It took him about 5 to 7 years to do that.
Yeah.
Everything. Trying to figure everything out like that. And you know
how much did that cost?
A lot.
Yeah. Storyboards don't.
The thing is that he did it himself.
Yeah. So
okay.
He did it himself. Now,
even if he didn't, it's still cheaper than filming the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, no shit. Yeah.
He's
still a lot cheaper than reshoots.
But
but maybe Disney could learn a couple things from that, and Sony.
Yeah, and actually, if you
go Sony has to get their shit together.
See the animatics of it. Holy fuck! That is some crazy stuff that he did.
Yeah.
To do all that, but the thing is that you have to, in order to visually get all those stunts, all that stuff down, and dialogue very slim on dialogue.
Yeah.
But the thing is that it's a very visual film, and of course they needed that. And with the amount of stunts that they did, and this what they did do actually quite a bit of CGI, not as much as people think, but whatever. Yeah. But it's mostly just kind of like taking away strings and background stuff. But anyway,
well, I am sad but we don't have 2 scripts tonight in Austin, Texas, because I don't think we have time for Rutger's Serial Twins, and I was really looking forward to it.
I'm still
Yeah,
waiting.
but Draco showed up,
Really
so
good night.
Draco
Oh,
showed
yeah,
up.
that's actually
I
you
went
know,
through all the scripts of the people that were here, and that was a lot. So
yeah.
Draco is in the building.
he was in the building.
And thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
It's actually, I want
You're
you to
welcome.
know that it is actually, I know that you've been having difficulty getting on here, but the thing is that the fact that you are here shows you also that, and you're taking the criticism
Yeah.
with a good take. I mean, you're taking it quite well. And I have to say that that's actually really hard to do. It is. And you know, it is hard to do. But the thing is that we want you to succeed. We're not here to see you fail. We want you to get better. We want you to succeed.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just gotta kind of stay focused on one thing and not jumping from script to script.
yes,
that's a
you need
disease.
to do that.
Yeah, that's a disease. That's a writer's disease. That's a writer's crutch when they feel like they are at a challenge to resolve something within a given story, they'll go to another story. And I know that because I have 3 scripts running right now. And I'll announce it. I'm doing one called Cadillac Jack, the Invisible Assassin. And he's not a vampire. So
I have
Yeah,
like
no,
7
I-
stories which I have not picked up in like 7 years. So yeah.
I used to have a binder like 20 years ago. I used to have a binder with all my story ideas in it. And when I would write a script and I'd give it to somebody and I'd get less positive feedback than I would like, I had the tendency to be like, oh, well, if they don't like that one, then I'll just give them this one. And
Yeah, see, and that's
yeah,
kind of
and that
mindset.
is a problem, and eventually you just have to find one and stick with it until you get it where you want it to be.
Okay.
And I feel like you just need to figure out which one that is, which one you like the most, that you think is worth the time and the effort, and just hone in on that one. Because the cool thing about doing comics is it's cheaper than making a film. You need nothing but a couple $1,000 and a couple friends to help promote your Kickstarter, and you could, at least make your art costs back, and that's a lot easier to do than to make a movie. And I know for me personally, since I've started doing comics, it has really, really helped me to hone in and focus on specific stories, for better or worse, and really just be like, okay, this is the story that I'm going to put my time and energy into. And then I take little breaks. Like right now, I'm taking a little break from Harpies 4 to work on Project Delta. But Project Delta was actually one of the first stories that I really sat down 20 years ago to write. And I spent a lot of time on that script, getting it as tight and as clean as I could. I paid for professional coverage on that script. I gave it to a few prospective producer people that I knew. And I got a lot of really positive feedback on it. Unfortunately, that's a computer script about hackers, and it's 20 years old, and none of it's going to fly today. So it needs a complete rewrite, which is what I'm doing now. But I'm really, really into this story, and I'm liking the direction that it's going. And yeah, this is going to be my next comic project once I get the screenplay done.
And do you find that your experience making comics has helped your screenplay writing?
Yes, it has. In 2 ways. One, focus. That's the big one. And secondly, visually, it's okay. So to Danny's point about screenwriting being comic writing being harder than screenwriting, it absolutely is, because in a comic, in a film, and I say this all the time, in a film you're literally working 24 frames a second. In a comic, you are working 1 frame a second.
Yep.
You're working 4 to 6 frames a page, and you really, really have to tighten down your story to take this scene that might be a 5-minute scene that's 5 minutes times 60 seconds times 24 frames, and you have to condense that into 2 pages, 4 to 6 panels a page.
That's what makes comics so powerful, though.
and
They're
that's-
exactly what you just described. That's their
It's a-
power.
Right, it's a skill. And what that has helped me is that when I go look at screenwriting, it helps me to tighten in my scenes and make sure that everything is punchy and fits. And yes, so to answer your question, I do feel like that doing comics has made me a better screenwriter because my scenes are tighter and more on the point, because you have to focus in tighter blocks. One of the other things is that I am, especially what I'm trying to do with Project Delta, specifically because, again, when you do a 10-page screenplay is going to roughly be about 15 to 16 pages on a comic. But the other thing I'm trying to do is, based on this format, is that I'm trying to keep in every 10 pages some kind of message, character moment, theme, hook,
cliffhanger kind of moment.
Yeah, in every 10 pages, so that there's got to be something. Like if I present 10 pages and they just drag on, and this is 10 pages in screenplay format, not in comic format, because that gets a little weird with the
Those
format
are your
difference.
beats, right? I mean, you're talking about beats.
Yeah, beats. Yes.
Right. So if I bring 10 pages, there should be something in there that if anything in that 10 pages drags on too long, then that scene needs to be tightened. So I feel like that is one of the strengths of this format. I know a lot of people don't like the format because they feel like it's too limiting, but I feel like if you can't do your scene in less than 10 pages, your scene's too long. So even if it's one scene and one location of 2 people sitting there talking, it needs to be, it should be tight. And if you can't get it all done in 10 pages, then the scene's way too long.
I'm gonna say a little something about about multiple drafts, how long it takes creative processing wise. Now, to go on to John's aspect about the 10 pages, you think that if it doesn't go on, if you don't capture it within the 10 pages, it's too long. So I
think whatever you're trying to communicate.
Yeah. Like, okay, well, I'm gonna give an example. I'm gonna give an example here. Sam Fuller is a director who's probably done 45 years of work, something like that. 45.
Sam Fuller, the Steel Helmet.
Sam Fuller, the director, and he had a wonderful quote, which I take very much to as a kind of like a good rule. If you don't capture your audience in the first 7 minutes, you lose them because they're going to flip the channel. They're going to just change. They're going to just get up and walk out. If you don't do that, say that a page is a minute. So if you don't get it within 7 pages, 10 pages, you need to tighten it. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. In a script, absolutely. If the script pages saying that, what is it, a minute for each page?
Yep, minute a page.
Minute a page. You don't get it in those first 10 pages in just a movie script, you lost your audience.
Right.
So, particularly in the intro.
Specifically in the intro. But I also feel like
in the intro.
I also feel like with this format, it helps you to keep that in mind every 10 pages.
Okay.
Because you can have a punchy first 10 pages, but if your page 11 to 25 drags on forever,
you'll lose them.
They're still chucking that script in the trash.
Yeah.
So if you give them something, pages 1 to 10, you give them something, bam. 11 to 20, give them something, bam. Make them keep turning that page.
Yeah.
That's where I feel like this format has a strength, because when I present pages, I look at what your feedback is, and if you guys are getting bored or you're missing things, then I know that those 10 pages aren't good enough, and they need to be reworked.
And we're gonna go and that to comic book, sometimes generally a comic book can take a couple months to a couple years. Watchmen took about 2 years conceptually to make before they even put it out on a page, before they even drew it out. I think like V for Vendetta took like what 6 years at one point to actually make from like first issue to the last. I think like how many draft like one of the scripts, like a movie script that I've heard has like which script has like the most revisions and drafts have you ever heard? Goodwill Hunting is one. Took them 10 years to write that script
because it was written really poorly.
And yeah,
they
but
admit
the thing
it.
is this, but the thing is this, it took 160 drafts. 160 drafts in over 10 years. Because it was just like, man, they had to work that thing. Yeah. But they did do it. Eventually it did win, and it worked out well. Stick to it.
Yeah. The more all right, look, I'm going to say this and we're going to close and say goodnight. And I appreciate everyone
Terminator
being here
took
so
4
long.
drafts.
But, script notes, the podcast I need to go and listen to, but they mentioned a psychological study of someone who was like, they did it. It was about crowd psychology, and they just had a guy go in a crowd and just start playing music and dancing, right? And they wanted to see if anybody would follow him. And generally, if one person went and danced, nobody would follow you. But then in a separate study, they had a confederate. So one person would go and start dancing, then somebody in the crowd would start dancing. And when someone in the crowd starts dancing, the crowd starts dancing.
And this actually goes back to even you as a producer.
Right. Yeah.
But once you like, nobody wants to put money out on a film.
Right.
Until one
person dances, everybody dances.
And then one person dances, and then a second person comes in.
Right.
And then it's like, oh yeah, we can definitely do that.
Right. So but my thing for the writer, you got to be at least the first dancer. If you're not dancing to your script, there's not going to be a second dancer. Okay. And that's what you're really looking for. You're really looking to incite a second dancer, because then you get everybody. So
okay.
All right. Okay. Good. Thanks very much, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Night, everybody.